Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Hello and welcome to the Tuesday night edition of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We very much appreciate you tuning us in. David Gaggin is here. We're going to talk about reality and eternity. So much in this conversation we are going to learn tonight. We're glad to have all of you here as well. Dirty Filth is finally returned as he will draw us another great cartoon. And we have all of you. Race fan in the gold medal position tonight. We got Tim Mothman and his goatee sharing a silver. CJ Berry with a bronze medal. Hi, Robert Lamoth. Stephanie Kenny Blankenship and Michael Morris. Good to see you all. Eternity Eternal Brown Dwarf and Human Carl is here. We love our Human Carl, a great veteran of the United States Air Force. Deidre, how are you? How's Vancouver Island? I bet you it's rainy. Dragonfly, welcome back. Forrest Louis has returned. Forrest Louis will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio if you don't mind. To the left of the studio. Tim in the Backwoods, welcome to SOR Chat. Eternity Eternal, welcome back again. And T-Bone, my man, thank you for dropping on in once again, my friend. Here we go. Continuing with our roll call, we have Paul Demon next. And following him, Cosmic Joe. Christy Abels has returned. Hi, Mama Susan. Princess Lion, good to see you both. Continuing on with our roll call here. Up next is Kurt M. And who's next? Scrolling on down. Conversations. There's Operation Shutdown and Leafy Nebula. Good to see you both here. It is going to be amazing. Yes, tonight's show is going to be fantastic. Thomas Rock, good to see you. Thomas Rock will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio if you don't mind. To the right of the studio. John Lamb, thanks for coming on in. Ozzy, good to see you. S. Vermette, Michael Gutierrez. Doug Shelby is here. The Doug Shelby has arrived, which means we can officially start this show. Dirty Filth in the chat room. He'll be on the screen soon. Good to have you here, buddy. Make sure we got Blob tonight. We're going to need a Blob fix. Sweet Robbie G. There he is, everybody. Take a bow, Sweet Robbie G. Tolo, welcome to SOR Chat. Al Garay over on Twitch, leg pressing 890 pounds, 72 times tonight. Yeah, his legs are pumped up. The veins are flowing over on Twitch right now. Pam Harris, good to see you. Phyllis Boucher Perry, thank you for joining us. Flat 6, Richard Elmore. Night Watch, welcome to SOR Chat. Hi, Jerry Carter. Thank you for joining us. Enrique, welcome to SOR Chat. Guy Calgary, nice to see you. W. Decker, hello, and thank you for kicking off the Super Chat tonight. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis, so thank you very much, my good friend. Hi, Science Melinda, good to see you. Skip to my Lou, good morning to you. Scrolling on down, and who's next here? Paisley Parker, thank you for joining us. Aaron Baca, thank you for coming on in. Hi, Mike Rivers. And the Ferret, good to see you both. Scrolling on down, Melvin from Mars, thank you for coming on in. Hi, Chris. Teen, good to see you. Where are we here? Warden Dragon, thanks for joining us. JSCO, good to have you here. Let's get the radio side started. Hello and welcome to the radio and podcast side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We appreciate you tuning us on in. David Gaggin is our guest tonight. We're talking eternity and reality on the big show as we await Bill WD-40 to start lubing us up for tonight's show. We are in roll call. Mary R., thank you for coming on in. Hi, Matthew Gutka. Michael Gutierrez, nice to have you there. And, yeah, everything's looking good here tonight. Looking on good. We've got a great show. Don't forget you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag, which means you can actually wear our stuff out in public and be happy to be wearing it. That's the way we do it around here. The Super Chat is open. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. And thank you to W. Decker for kicking things off tonight. We got a great show planned for you. I hope you enjoy it. I know I'm going to. Do me a favor. Throw those horns up. Let's rock. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out, Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We got an awesome show for you tonight as David Gaggin is here. We're going to get into everything from our existence, our eternal existence. What is reality? We're going to find out so much tonight. Then in hour number 3, Steve Stockton is here from Among the Missing. Follow that up. Jackie Harmon will have the Cryptid Report. All right, let's get into some fun tonight. David Gaggin received his bachelor's in mathematics and bachelor's of science and master's degrees in electrical engineering. He spent 16 years designing and managing flight control systems, avionics, and cockpits for the Boeing Company. He then joined the U.S. government's senior executive service, where he spent 9 years in various director positions for the U.S. Army and NASA's Electronics Research Laboratories. Yet he says he doesn't have aliens. Would you believe that after all that? I don't know if I believe. I think he's got NDAs. And he's not telling us where them aliens are. Well, for the last 16 years of his business career, David was the CEO of Cobham Defense Electronic Systems Corporation, a company he founded and grew into one of the world's leading defense microwave corporation. He was the first employee and at his retirement had over 3,500 employees and $1 billion in annual revenue. However, there was something missing throughout his career. He spent his spare time seeking answers to questions like, who am I? Where am I? Why am I here? The view of science in that the universe was an accident and life had no meaning has made no sense to David. So after retiring, he wrote The Endless Journey, a metaphysical book on the nature of reality. His website, davidgaggin.com. David Gaggin, welcome to Spaced Out Radio for the first time. It's so good to have you here. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Dave. I enjoyed being here. Thanks for having me.
How do you go from a $1 billion annually company to searching for the questions of life that we all have?
Well, I had to make a living, so I became an engineer. But ever since I was a young man, I was always curious at what the heck was going on. My father used to feed me these books and Aku Aku and a number of strange books, and he'd have me read them, and I say, what do you think of that? And I'd say, I don't have a clue what's going on, but I always wondered. And I spent all of my spare time having throughout my business career trying to figure out what's going on. And I searched everything I could, and metaphysics gave me the best answers I could find.
A man of science such as you're supposed to believe that evidence proves everything, yet metaphysics is more about theory, thought, and the unknown. How did you find the brain strength to combine the two?
Well, there the trouble with science is it limits what the evidence is. And you basically have to be able to reproduce it in the lab or under controlled circumstances in order to have it considered scientific information. But an awful lot of things happen in this world and they aren't reproducible in the lab. But that doesn't mean there isn't evidence. You have tens of thousands, probably many more, having near-death experiences, saying that basically the same thing, slightly different circumstances, but the same kind of information. And to say that that's not evidence, that's a real stretch. And ESP happens all the time. So, it's not that big a difference between engineering looking for the answers to how a flight control system might work versus how the universe works. It's just a bigger question. That's all. But you use the same thought process for either one of them.
Well, I understand that. I learned a lot from Dr. Bob McGuire. We call him Science Bob around here. He started Hawkeye 360 back in the day, and he now is on his own journey of the unknown as well after retiring from Virginia Tech University. And I'll tell you, he has taught me a lot about what science is. And one thing, after 50 plus years in science for him, and I'm sure it's the same for you, that he has very much trouble understanding is science is never supposed to end. It is supposed to continue growing. That's how we moved mankind from the Stone Age to where we are today. And yet, he says so many times we see scientists limiting themselves because they're afraid to take challenges anymore because of government grants and private donations and university tenure and so on and so forth, that it's really taken the science out of the science.
I agree with that. I agree completely with that. We if you ask yourself where science is, where does it reside? Well, a lot of places it resides. It resides in a university, and it's in a department, for example. And who tells you what the science is? The guy that runs the department. He's been there for a long time. He made his name on certain theories, and he's not too excited about new changes. Not that the new changes won't eventually come, but he's not wide open to new ideas, and this goes across the whole spectrum of science. And you see the same thing in government labs. You have politics in these things. So science is not this objective subject that we all think it is. There's a lot more politics, and there's not nearly as much objectivity as it's portrayed to be.
When you started scientific study way back when you were, what's that, 12 years ago, you were like 25? I don't know. Yeah.
Maybe a few more than that, but
Okay, I'll add 2 or 3 years to that.
there you go.
Did you ever think that you would see science from when you started changing to what it is today, where it's very controlled?
No, I didn't. But on the other hand, I don't think I understood science when I first started to get into it. I believed that it was this highly objective subject that whatever the experiment showed, well, that's what we were gonna follow. I really didn't understand the process back then. I think the process has been going on for a long time, but the problem is it changes, and that's good. It's supposed to change, and we need to allow it to change a little bit faster than we do these days. When I was in high school, science was kind of my subject, and I did well. I got good grades in them. If indeed you asked the kids today the same questions that I was asked, we're talking 50 years ago, then and they gave the same answer that I got a good mark on, these kids would flunk because science has changed. The ideas have changed, but they haven't changed as rapidly and as openly. But they change. They just change. You almost have to drag science along in all too many places to get it to change, but it does.
For you growing up, even though you became a scientist and evidentiary, were you a spiritual person growing up? Did you go to church? Did you have a belief in God or some other deity?
I struggled with it. I did. I was raised an Episcopalian, but I remember wanting to know what the answers were. I struggled with Christianity. I remember sitting in in church and looking, and I'm talking maybe when I was 14 or 15, looking at the beautiful stained glass windows and the pomp and ceremony that was going on, the robes around the minister, and I'm thinking, I don't know what the answer is, but this isn't it.
So, where are you today now that you are on this metaphysical answer or quest to find answers to what humanity, life, and reality are all about?
I think there's absolutely a what you would call a God or a Tao or universal consciousness. I absolutely am convinced. I don't think it has all that much to do with a lot of the religion that is being sold to us as the masses. But I certainly think that this is no accident. This is this was a well thought out, incredibly well thought out process, and absolutely there's a higher power, and the beauty of it all is we're part of it. We may be a small part of it, but we're part of it. And everything is part of it. We're all part of this incredibly wise consciousness that that has created this reality that we're in and created a lot more realities.
Do you think, as you've looked into this a little bit more, that there is something to it, that it wasn't a big bang type of theory going on? It wasn't something that there was a universal explosion that started atoms and photons and protons and neutrons and any type of on you can find. How did you think it was created then?
Yeah, if it was created in a big bang, which is what we're being told by mainstream science, then that would say that it was all potluck and there's no intelligence behind it, and all of this was an accident. And boy, that's a struggle. That's a huge struggle to me. I think what happened is there's a consciousness that came into being, and when it did, it grew and grew and grew, and we became part of it as we came into existence along the way, and that this consciousness is what created the reality that we see. And it's not we look at this reality as matter, and I see it as energy, and it's alive energy. The whole place is alive. It's taken a form that we're able to see. Our reality is based on the energy having to be in a certain place and you having to be able to perceive that energy. So we have these outer senses. Everybody knows our five outer senses, and those outer senses perceive energy in a certain format, and that's what we call the physical world. But what is that energy? Well, that energy is basically spiritual forms in some sort of configuration, and that's what we're seeing. But but really, all you've got is spiritual energy taking different forms, and we're able to perceive it, and that's what gives us our reality. But it's basically all one substance. There is only one substance, and that one substance is conscious energy, and that's it. And it takes all these different forms, and we're one of those forms. We're a little bit more developed than some of the conscious energy you might find right around you, but it's the same substance. There's only one substance.
Where do you think consciousness comes from?
I think it's an attribute of energy. And energy is, in the smallest unit, and consciousness comes from the basic nature of energy. It's not created by our neurons. It's within us. So if you look around, everything is conscious. Everything. An atom is conscious. It's not conscious like you and I are conscious. It doesn't have the aliveness or awareness that we do, but it has an awareness. It knows that it's something, and it is aware of its surroundings. It may be very limited surroundings, but it's aware of its surroundings. Everything is conscious.
I believe you on that. And, I mean, and I've used this example on the show before. I'm not a tree hugger. I'm not, I'll go out there and I'll have no problem cutting down a tree, for firewood, a dead tree, not an alive tree, but, I try and do my part to clean up the forest a little bit. But the one thing that I've learned is if you've ever hugged a tree, not as a hippie sort of way, but if you've ever walked up to a tree and touched it and hugged it and told it how beautiful it is, the energy that radiates from that tree coming back to you is actually amazing. You can actually feel the tree sending you energy back in appreciation for for the recognition. It's one of the most weirdest things I've ever experienced. And trust me, I've seen a lot of weird stuff, man. But
What you say, Dave, is has been in a slightly different way shown in a number of scientific experiments. They've shown that you could have. They've set up plants, and they've put plants in identical plants, or as close as they could get to them. They put them in two different rooms with the same kind of sun, the same kind of heat, the same amount of water, same amount of food, everything as close as they could. And in one room, they would say loving things to the plants and treat them well and really be very kind to them. In the other room, they'd yell at them and scream at them, and they'd treat them like low level things. And inevitably, all of a sudden, the plants that you treated well in a loving way grew and flourished much better than the ones that were yelled at. They did one study where one plant was in a room, and they went in. One person went in and burned a leaf on that plant, and then days later, a stream of people would walk by, and they'd have sensors on those plants, and the person that burned the plant, the sensor went off, and the plant literally recoiled when that individual went by.
wow, I had
So
no idea about that. That's powerful.
it's amazing stuff. But plants are every bit as alive as we are. They may not be quite as far along the quote unquote evolutionary path that we're all on, but at one time we were plants, and we were the lower level animals, and in time we'll be the higher level spirits. We're working on it, but we're not there yet. But plants are working on it just like we are, and so are animals. And you look at your pets, and that there's, you have a dog or a cat, and that these are, living things that feel and love, and you know they're not that far behind us on the evolutionary path. Not that far.
As we, as humanity, start to, gain more spirituality and consciousness and become more real with ourselves, how is this going to influence the direction of humanity going forward?
I think it'll help us in leaps and bounds if we could understand what what life is all about, which also tells us what death is all about, which is not a big deal. Then we'd start understanding that we are part of a much larger scheme of life than we appreciate. And the biggest problem that I have with things like the Big Bang Theory is when they come in and they say that this is pot luck. There's nothing after this. So some people who are kind of just getting started in this series of incarnations, they might say, well, what do I have to why should I be good? Why shouldn't I get everything I can out of life? Why what's going to hurt me if I don't like this guy, I'll get rid of him. And so all of a sudden, if they realize that what goes around comes around, and karma is a very real thing, and that we're all really part of the same consciousness. We're all one, just experiencing our individuality. And people would have a very different view of how to treat other people. And I think if that happened, and it will happen. I don't think it'll happen in my lifetime or yours, but I think eventually it will happen, and all of a sudden you'll see an amazing change in humanity and what we're able to do, and I think we'll start going to the stars, and we'll start doing far more things. I think the spiritual world will give it to us.
Do you think there has been outside influence from maybe extraterrestrial life regarding our existence on this planet?
Absolutely, without a doubt. Without a doubt, I think, and you can see, it all over the planet. You look at the pyramids, and they say, well, these guys over in Egypt stumbled out of either the desert or the forest, whatever you believe the planet was like 5,000 years ago, or Egypt was like 5,000 years ago, and they built these things that we probably couldn't build today. But they did it years ago without any mechanical equipment. It doesn't make any sense. Somebody helped them out, and I think there's an awful lot of examples to show you all around the world that there are things that our civilization just couldn't have done. Somebody helped us out.
All right. I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. David Gaggin is here. We're talking about eternity, reality, the meaning of life. Who am I? Who are you? We'll find out on Spaced Out Radio. All right, we are clear.
Okay.
That was fun.
Yeah.
And that's Dirty Filth down there.
I like his little cartoon.
Yeah, let's take a little peek at that right there. What do we got here? Oh, we're back in town.
This is back in town. I don't recognize it.
Nobody. It's a filth town.
Ah.
Yeah. And he's just drawing away. Sometimes his cat Blob comes out and helps him too.
His cat Blob.
Okay. I should have unmuted myself. I was saying, Blob's downstairs having a nap.
Doesn't she know it's time for work?
Oh, cats don't work, Dave.
No.
But we got the Gremlin and the Kentucky Goblin, and the Kentucky Goblin is going to get the Gremlin some cat snacks, which is usually findable. I don't even think findable is a word, but it is now. You can find them in apartment buildings usually, because that's where people that own cats usually live, is in apartments.
That's true.
Yes, I was saying it.
Where
looks
are you
mucky right now.
located? Where are you located?
I'm east of Dave in Alberta.
Okay.
He's in Edmonton, Alberta, home of the Oilers.
Yeah.
They seem to be doing pretty good right now.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's weird, Dirty Filth. I called the score of the last two games.
Really?
Yeah. Called it. And I'm calling Edmonton in 7. Edmonton in 7 against Dallas.
Wow. No matter what happens, Vancouver's out, and that's all I care about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sorry, David. A little hockey talk here. It's us being Canadian, we get lost in it quickly at playoff time.
Yeah, well, it's a big deal around here too. I don't follow it so much. I used to when I lived in Philadelphia. I used to follow the Flyers. That's when they were the Broad Street Bullies. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Little bit of Dave Schultz, Rick McLeish.
Yep, absolutely. Dave Clark. Bobby Clark. Yeah.
Bill Barber.
Boy, you got a good memory.
Oh yeah,
These are names from the past.
Bernie Perront in net.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Every kid playing street hockey wanted to be Bernie Perront back then.
You could play goal and punch people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think it's funny that hockey is the only sport you can physically assault your opponents without legal ramifications.
I think you're right.
I think it is a beautiful thing.
It's like you could just drop the gloves and start punching the other guy in the chops.
It happens.
Like if you did that in golf or volleyball, like holy.
Right.
Well, you know what, Filthy? It's fun. It's fun. You know?
Everybody's got a plan till they get punched in the face.
You take one in the cheek, you go numb, and then you just throw them back. It's nice and simple.
My granddaughter, when she used to go to a lot of hockey games. Her dad would take her, and when she was about 10, I said, "What do you like most about hockey?" And she says, "I'm embarrassed to tell you, but I like the fighting."
It feels good.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, it feels good.
You know, Dave, one time I got sucker punched at a Safeway.
I remember that. I remember you telling me that.
But he pled guilty anyways. I didn't get to go to court. And I sent in a victim impact statement. I was like, this has affected my drawing and it was really terrible. And I'm an important artist. And the cop guy was like, yeah, we'll make sure we mention that. I'm like, please do.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
Got a nice bloody eyeball out of it.
Yeah. My last hockey fight, I ended up with a squeaky nose. He busted my nose so bad. It was awesome.
Didn't aliens fix that for you, though?
Blood all over the place. It was so good. It was so good. I lost the fight, but man, it got voted fight of the year.
Oh,
Fight of
really?
yeah, it was a great fight in our league. Oh yeah. I don't mind losing that one. Yeah. Only guy I ever fought in hockey where every time he punched me, I saw stars.
Hmm.
And it hurt. Thank you to W. Decker, Forrest Louie, and T-Bone for the super chats tonight. Very much appreciated. Here we go with the second half hour, everybody. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. We always appreciate you tuning us on in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hey, I want to remind all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, our archives are always free on every major podcast network, as well as youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. What is the meaning of life? How did we get here? Why are we here? What are we doing? And what are the mysteries? That's why David Gaggin, author, researcher, is here. And David, thank you so much for being on Spaced Out Radio.
Thank you for having me, Dave.
What the hell are we doing here, man? What brings us to this planet? Do we got some aliens in us? Are we supposed to be here? Are we a miracle? Or what do you figure humanity is all about?
We're here because we chose to be here. You know, I explain a lot of this in my book, Our Eternal Existence. But you know, we choose to come. This wasn't an accident. We agreed to this. Now, on our bad days, we might wonder what the heck we were thinking about. But we chose to be here, and we come here because we know it's going to be difficult. But it's for our own good. We're learning things and we're evolving all the time. Every experience that we have is something that adds to our evolution. And so we're gaining a large amount of wisdom when we have even a very normal life. You don't have to have these exceptional lives. Everybody has a purpose here. It's their own personal purpose. We have general purposes. Humanity, if you will, has general purposes, but we all have very specific purposes that we come here for. And we go through one experience after the other, trying to learn what that experience is all about. And we see things from different angles. And one life will come down, and we come down life after life, and we come down here to see the world from a certain perspective, to see our experiences from a certain perspective. And then when we leave, it's like a business trip. We come down here for a certain purpose, and then we have the experience, and we get surprises that we didn't expect, and then we go back, and when we die, it's like going back and trying to understand what we learned and understand our experiences, and then we put a plan together to go have another business trip. And that's kind of what we're doing here. We're doing what our soul and basically our ego agreed to do.
What about the idea that we are stuck here? I mean, there's many people who believe we haven't been on the moon. There's many people who believe that we haven't flown in space. It's all a facade, and that, you know, we're stuck here like a prison planet, not allowed to go explore the universe.
Well, I think obviously I think we've been on the moon, but I do think there's a truth in that. And the truth is, we have to learn how to stop killing each other before the powers that be are going to give us the technology to go to visit other planets. I think they don't trust us, as well they shouldn't. to get us exposed to and in control of a planet that was less developed. I mean, we're not exactly making ourselves proud by how we treat the animals and the plants on this on this planet. And until we get to a certain point and we evolve as a civilization to a point where we can be responsible for taking care of the nature, if you will, and others, I think mankind's gonna hang around here until we clean up our act.
Yeah, we are the dumb kids right now, aren't we?
We kind of are, yeah.
Yeah, I get that. I get it. Especially those radio hosts who are chasing aliens, Bigfoot, and ghosts. Dumb people.
Well,
Dumb.
they're probably the wisest of the group.
Yeah, well, there's not enough tinfoil anymore to go around, so
Yeah.
we have to use that aluminum foil, or as the Brits would say, aluminium foil.
Yes.
Gotta try and balance the English here.
Okay.
But nonetheless, David, I mean, the way we kind of look at this planet, the way we look at life and consciousness and spiritual being, what do you think our purpose is? Do you think our purpose is to just reproduce and keep the planet going? Or do you think that we're missing out on what the true meaning of humanity is?
I don't think we're missing. I think it's a hard story. I think what we may be missing by evaluating and not understanding it, but I think as individuals coming down here, or incarnating here, I think we're each having our experience, and we learn from it. So I think it's all about evolution. It's all about learning learning about ourselves, and that's all there is to learn about is ourselves, because we're part of what I call the Tao, which is the universal consciousness, or God, if you want. And that's the only thing that exists. That's the only thing that we know of that exists. And so it's trying to learn about itself, and it's doing it through us. So we're trying to learn about ourselves. So we're here trying to understand who we are and what we are and how we feel about things. And we're exposed to things here that we can't be exposed to in the spiritual realm. Things like negative energy, which is, fear is a good example. You can't experience this in other places. So if we want to learn how we react to fear, then we have to experience it. So we come here and that's just one of the things that we're learning. But that's, one of the many things that we're trying to understand about ourselves.
Do you think then that the consciousness and the soul are eternal? And if so, where do you think, or how do you think they were created?
That's really interesting. And absolutely, I think we're eternal. I think once you come into being, once a consciousness comes into existence, it never goes out of existence. And energy is energy that's in existence. It's constantly creating other energy and bringing other energy into existence. There's apparently a staggering amount of dormant energy, and when that energy breaks into an existence and becomes a vitality, then it never goes back into dormancy. Now, how did the very first piece of energy come into being? I don't think even that energy knows, and that's the Tao itself. I think it all of a sudden something caused it. Whether something came by and caused it, I don't know how it could have happened, but somehow or other that energy came into being, and once that energy came into being, then it brought other energy, and we're constantly adding energy, vitality to the system. So it's growing I don't know if it's exponential. I don't know how it's growing, but it's growing because we're continually bringing more energy into the system. And every time we do something, every time we move, every time anything moves, it activates other dormant energy.
If the soul and consciousness is eternal, it had to be somewhere before we took it over. Like me, you, whoever has a spirit and soul out there, which is pretty much everybody. Except I do wonder about Vancouver Canucks fans. But that's for a different time right now. Okay. I'm curious though, David, like in your opinion, in your thought process and research, where do those souls or that energy for who we are, where does it come from?
From you and I, you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a soul, and we come in here, and again, I explain this in our eternal existence. We come here in as a piece of consciousness that was created by our inner self, our inner conscious, or what we might call our soul. And what we need to do is we need to be able to understand this reality. So our soul can't do it. It can't. Our soul will look right through the illusion that we live in. So it has to create a vehicle for us, for itself actually, and we are the vehicle that it creates. So what it does is it takes a piece of its own consciousness and uses that to focus on the physical world here, and that's what I call the ego. And that ego controls the body, it controls the consciousness, it controls what you and I do, and it's what we think of as our I. And it has to be in control here because it's a dangerous world, especially for our body. And so if something here present has to tell the body to step out of the way if a car comes or if a wild animal is around. So so the ego is the part of the consciousness that is focused on the physical plane. And then we have another part of the ego or the consciousness, which is our subconscious. And our subconscious, it controls our body, and it and it does all the things for us that we need to do to exist. So the ego tells it what to do, and then the subconscious goes and does it. Subconscious has another piece, and within that piece is all our past lives. So the memory of all our past lives are exist within our subconscious. So that's why when you read about things like hypnotic regression, you can you're really going back into your conscious, and you're going back to, you can go back to in between lives, you can go back to your past life, you can go back to in between life before that one, you can go all the way back as far as you want. And and all of our past memories are within our subconscious. So what we are a creation of our soul. And so the soul sends us down here because the soul has this grander plan, and it wants to experience certain things. So we come down here, we experience it. The soul gives us certain biases. It makes us see the world in certain ways, and and then it will have these experiences. If for example you went to a football game or a hockey game, let's use a hockey game, and you go to a hockey game and you go with your friend, and he cheers the same way you do, you eat the same food, you drink the same drinks, you sit right next to each other, you have very different experiences there. Uh, so and that's because you are different than that other person, than your friend. And so that's the difference with these various personalities that we have when we come down here, because each one of them experiences the world in a very particular way. And that's why we have so many different views of life. We have, right now, conservatives and liberals is you see it in the paper every day of how different they are, and we are different. But we look at the same set of facts and we draw very different conclusions. Well, they're biased differently. Each one of us is biased differently than the other person. And then the next life, the person that's a liberal may be a conservative, and vice versa, depending on what the soul wants to experience in that life. But we're coming down here to have experiences that will teach us about ourselves and how we react to those experiences.
Do you believe then that reincarnation is the true path for eternal life?
Yes. It's it's a true path for us in the physical plane that we're going through right now. And as part of our physical cycle, reincarnation is absolutely part of it. Reincarnation doesn't take place in other realities. Doesn't necessarily take place, and it doesn't take place, the best of my knowledge, in after you leave the astral field and you go off to some of the other realities, spiritual realities in our universe. But while we're coming here and while we're having physical experiences, reincarnation is the method that they use to get us to learn and experience different things.
How do they create the new souls then? Because we always hear there is new souls, there's old souls, and souls in the middle, and that every life is a learning process to higher consciousness.
Yeah, we come down here, and our spirit, our high level spirit, gets it's in the psychological realm. Starts out in the psychological realm, which is in the Tao, if you will, and it gets cast from the Tao, and it decides it wants to have an experience. Doesn't have to, but eternity's a long time, and you don't want to just sit there and and do nothing. So the soul, the spirit wants to go and have these various experiences. So our spirit obviously picked this physical realm as a place that it wanted to go and experience. So it comes down here and it takes parts of itself and it creates a vehicle to experience this, and it does it through the reincarnation process. And then after it goes through maybe, I don't know, 50, 100 lives, some number of lives, and it can't be too short a life. It's got to be probably at least 50. But probably, unless you're doing something special, maybe not much more than 100. And you go back and forth and you try to learn what you came here to learn. And what you're really doing is trying to experience certain things. And then you go through this cycle, and then you cycle through the other fields of creation. This is one of them. There's 7 fields of creation in our universe. There are other universes, but in our universe, there's 7, and you've got the physical plane, which we're in. You have the astral plane, which is where you go when you die, and then we just go back and forth from the astral plane to the physical plane, and we do that for X number of thousands of years, and then we move after that when we're done that cycle and we think we've learned all we can learn then in this particular cycle, or all we're willing and able to learn. Then we move on to the causal plane, and then after the causal plane, you exist there for a period of time, long period of time. Then you go to the mental plane or field, and the messianic, and then the Buddhaic, and then you go back to the Tao, and that's one cycle, one grand cycle. And then the spirit says, okay, what do I want to do now? And it might say, I want to do it again. So you go back and you go through it again. And you'll do that as long as you feel like doing that. And when you're done with that cycle, with all those cycles, then you might say, well, all right, I've done that. I've learned what I've learned. And now maybe I'll go and see if I can figure out how a star works. So you go off and do something else. You just continually evolve and learn and grow forever. You become wiser and wiser and wiser.
Okay. Now, in between those lifetimes, are we able to be other things? Could we be a dog in a lifetime, a shark, an eagle, a tree, a mosquito, whatever it may be, rather than just being human all the time?
Okay. Once you reach humanity, which is a sentient being, you probably won't go back. You won't learn that much. You've already been an eagle or a dog or whatever. You've gone through that cycle. You've gone through the plant cycle. So you don't want to go back because you don't have that much to learn. So you'll stay in the sentient cycle. And whales are sentient and dolphins are sentient. So you could conceivably have a grand cycle where you chose to be a dolphin or a whale as opposed to a human. That's certainly available to you. And there's other places you probably won't come back to this planet that on your next grand cycle. So you'll probably go to another planet. So will you be a human? Well, not as we define it, but you'll be a sentient being of some sort. You choose it. You decide that that's what you want to experience, and that's what you go through. And so, can we be an eagle? We don't. We've been there. We've been there. But there are other things that are even much greater than what we know on this planet that we can absolutely become. And you see all these aliens that we believe are here. I believe they're here too. And you could be an alien next time around if you wanted. You could be on another planet that is far more capable. But you have to get to a point. You have to evolve to a point where you're able to handle that type of planet.
I don't know if I even want to go to another planet. I kind of like it here. Because we got about 90 seconds to go before we got to go to break at the top of the hour. David Gaggin is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. That opens up what you said. So many different questions, David, about the future of our reality and where we are headed consciously. Do we follow then the souls that are around us in this lifetime, or are we continually changing? Like, will my mom and dad be my mom and dad in the future? Or do I get different parents from different souls and different timelines? How does that work in your opinion?
You choose your parents, and your parents choose you in the spiritual realm. You choose your spouse in the spiritual realm. So some and we continue to use. It's a large group, but we work with the same souls life after life after life, and that's one of the reasons we can't remember, because if your mother right now might be your child in the next life. My granddaughter has been my daughter or my children. I don't know if she was male or female twice in the past, and it's so we come back and we work with the same people over and over again, but we choose them. We choose, and they choose us. And you might, and when you're planning a life, you might pick maybe a dozen people that could be your parent, because their circumstances might not allow it. They might stop having kids by the time it's your turn, or they might not have kids at all, or whatever.
David Gaggin is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. His book is called The Endless Journey, More on the Meaning of Life on SOR in hour 2 next. This is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott. All right, David, thank you.
Yeah, Dave, would you do me a favor?
Yeah.
My latest book is Our Eternal Existence. The Endless Journey was the earlier book. The latest book is Our Eternal Existence.
Got it.
It's a metaphysical perspective of reality.
Got it.
Okay.
All right, buddy. We're going to take a quick break here. I'm going to turn things over to Dirty Filth. We got about 5.5 minutes here.
Okay, let me go get some water. I'll be back in a second.
Me too.
Yeah, there they go. There goes the quitters. Going to let the dogs out, feed the Sasquatch, get water, all that stuff. Oh, good gods. The terrible quality of that video there, Dirty Filth. What the look at my hands are actually that color? I don't think so. Oh, that's unacceptable. Well, I apologize for my terrible camera tonight. I'll figure it out. Anyways, good to see everybody doing the final touches here. So you get to sit here and listen to me ramble to myself. You've been doing all night. You can't actually hear me rambling because the microphone's off, and it's probably important because I swear a lot. And the cats are Clint's. Anyways, hope everyone's having a good night. 1 second here. Okay, there we go. Now we just have to do the lettering. My least favorite part. Sorry, but I'm working on it all the time. So working in a warehouse, so I got to write waybills and junk, things like that. So, excuse me while I.
Do you publish these cartoons anywhere?
I have a book and a whole bunch of internet things, social media chunks. I've got one book published, second one coming out probably in July,
Okay.
and 4 calendars.
Oh, that's great.
I do a calendar every year.
Okay.
It's actually kind of comical because nobody else was doing calendars about UFOs and junk, and then all of a sudden, here comes MUFON. They're like, we'll do a calendars about UFOs and junk. So I appreciate that. It's catching on. People should do that stuff. Everybody needs a calendar.
Yeah, you're right about that.
It's an important thing to have. A physical calendar you can write on.
Oh, I like physical stuff more than I like a book that I can hold in my hand.
Oh, I'm a pretty big book nerd. Between Mrs. Filth and I, we probably got over 1,000 books in the house here.
Do you? Yeah.
All right, there we go. He's saying humans that dwell in these buildings always have cat snacks. I try to zoom in more, but I've set up my cameras a little bit weird. I have 2 cameras now. So everyone will just have to, and apparently it's not very bright either. So I apologize to everybody for the subpar resolution in the cartoon, but don't worry. It'll be on all the Dirty Filth social media. Yes.
You're a talented guy.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. I stopped for some chicken wings the other day, and the guy was telling me that I usually leave cartoons at the pub that I go to, and the guy's like, hey, I brought one of those cartoons you had home, and my daughter loved it, and she's getting into artist. She wants to become like an animator or whatever. And it was just neat talk with the guy, and basically I just told him Support your pals and your daughters, your friends, everyone, all the artists in the universe. Just support these guys. They're all weirdos, and they like doing this stuff.
Yeah.
They do the books and the TV covers and all that such.
Yeah.
I'm not much of a wordsmith.
Well, it's a neat talent. You obviously been doing this all your life.
Oh yeah. Oh, I gotta put the shadow underneath them. You gotta hit them with the gravities when you put the shadow in. That's
Moon shadow.
yeah. And the moon is definitely made of cheese.
All right,
Oh,
Dirty
it's
Phil.
terrible. Sorry for the poor quality of my video, Dave.
Yeah, what's with the blurriness today?
It's my old camera.
Mm.
The other one's in the mail, so cats, I tell you. All right, have a good night, gentlemen.
All right, Dirty Phil. Thank you, buddy.
Take care.
All right, Dirty Filth, everybody, with another great piece of art. Thank you, W. Decker, Forrest Louis, T-Bone, for the super chats tonight. If you have questions, put them in capital letters. I will get them to our good friend David here. Highlight Walkers, how you doing? Good to see you. Oob to Joe's Maine. Here we go. Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. We always appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America. We always appreciate you guys tuning us on in nightly. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Fessa 9. Fessa 9 is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. We continue on tonight with author, researcher David Gaggin. His website, davidgaggin.com. He's got a new book out called Our Eternal Existence. You can find it on Amazon as well. David, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Dave.
I want to start off with a couple of great questions from our audience tonight, if you don't mind.
Okay.
We always like to include them. T-Bone is asking, David, what's your opinion on the unified soul theory?
Well, I absolutely believe that there is one web of consciousness that we're all part of, and we are having a individual experience, if you will, here, but our normal existence is part of a web of consciousness where the souls are really everybody is really the same. Is really part of the same. We're all part of the same overall consciousness that exists. So I support most of it.
You do believe, though, that as you stated in the last half hour, the soul is eternal, consciousness is eternal. So what happens to us when we die?
Well, what we really do is we just transition back to the astral plane. And all we have to do is we change our focus. Right now, we're focused on the physical plane. And when we die, then we no longer have our outer senses to confuse our mind. So we use our inner senses, and the inner senses are not focused. We have inner senses. They're amazing, telepathy and so on and so forth, that some people are able to use in this life. But generally what we do is all of a sudden now we have access to those inner senses So we get to perceive the astral plane, and the astral plane is right here. Nobody really goes very far. They just transition out of this particular reality, so they're not exposed to it. So once you die, then you might hang around for a while. You might hang around for, maybe hours or maybe days. The first thing you do is you look down and you realize that you're not part of your body anymore. And you don't look at it as your body. And you don't look at it as you. You look at it like as your car. It's a vehicle that you used. And but then before too long, you move into the spiritual realm, and because that's where your focus is. So you go into the spiritual realm, and interestingly enough, you get what you expect in this life, and we haven't gotten into that. I do go into that in our eternal existence, but you get what you expect in this life. You get what you expect in death as well. At least right in the beginning, they make it as easy for you as they can. So if you expect, for example, say you're very religious and you expect that that God and the devil are fighting for your soul, you will be in a battle when you die, and God will be working with you, and you'll be saying, "Hey, you're doing a great job," and supporting you, but sooner or later, reality sets in, and they tell you, "Well, the devil is really your Uncle Bob, and we're just trying to help you ease in." So you go through this period. If you think there's nothing afterwards, you'll be in what might be a coma. You don't stay there real long, but they ease you in to the astral plane. And then once you get through that period, you meet your friends and such, and your loved ones, and then you have a life review, and the life review says gives you the opportunity to experience how you made other people feel. So you get to feel how you made other people feel. If you made other people feel good, hey, you get the good experiences. When you made somebody feel poorly, you get to experience how you made them feel. So it's a learning process. And that goes on, and that they run through your life on that. And then what happens is you get to decide what you want to do. If you need to rest, relax, travel, you can run around the universe, if you will, visit other cultures. You can go fishing if you want. You can do anything you want, and because it's an illusion as well. All of these different fields of creation are illusions. The only one that's not is the physical domain that the Tao's in. So anyway, you go do that for a while until you're ready, uh, and then what you do is you have a life analysis, and that life analysis they go through your life and all the key things in your life, and they say this is how you made a decision, and this is what caused you, the results that come after that. So if you had things didn't go your way and you had a problem, they show you that it was your decisions that caused you to have that experience. So you go through, and then they show you, they say, okay, but if you did this, look what would have happened. And then they go through and they show you what would have happened if you'd have made different decisions. So it's a teaching tool that they go through with you, in great detail to explain where you made mistakes and where you did well. And after that, then you can rest and do things. But pretty soon you'll want to decide, okay, let's go back and try this again. I've learned a whole bunch. I learned a lot when I was having my last life. I learned a lot after I was having in between lives. Now I'm ready to go try it again as a wiser person. So you set up, your soul will set up a pre-life plan, and then it'll create another personality, which will will have some of the same. You have a different body, obviously, but you have a different uh, group of consciousnesses that you'll have a different ego, or some of it may be similar. But they can pick and choose. Conscious is a strange thing. It's a Gestalt type of formation. So it'll use various pieces of your conscious and create a being that will have the biases and interests and desires, and that will hopefully allow it to have the experiences that the soul wants. And of course, the new ego will agree to do that, or it won't be the ego.
That sounds almost biblical, what you were saying, as what we know about standing in front of God and having your judgment day.
It's nobody judges you. There is absolutely no judgment. If you have a great life, there's no attaboys. And if you have a terrible life, there's no aw shucks. It's simply, all right, here's where you are, and here's what you learned, and we move on from there. No judgment at all. The only person that judges is, if you choose to judge yourself, that's your business. But nobody else judges you. There is no God that says, that shame on you for doing this. Now, there's things like karma that you can pick up, where if you interfere with somebody's life and you stop them from having the experience that they wanted, because they've put a lot of energy in that, you owe them the energy that they put in. So that's a karmic thing, and you can consider it judgment, but it's not really judgment. It's simply you learning a lesson because you've made a mistake, and you need to appreciate the magnitude of the mistake that you made so you don't make it again.
All right, let's go to another audience question here. Let's go to Cosmic Joe. Hi, David. As a neo-thinker and an immortalist, have been giving a solution to enhance my existence. Would you like to live forever?
I certainly wouldn't want to live a physical life forever. Um, we all have no choice. We are eternal, whether we like it or not. Our soul, our consciousness is eternal, and so we should try to enjoy the life we have. But I wouldn't want to live this life forever, because this is a hard life, and it's difficult, and we need to rest and relax and try to take a different perspective on it. So you really don't want to live this physical life, and really, for us, any longer than we do, quite frankly. We choose when we die, and we choose when we're born. And so no, I wouldn't want to be. I wouldn't want to be in this physical body for any longer than I will be, and I don't know how long I will be. But no, I would have no desire at all to live physically all that long. You keep coming back. You don't need to. You get a fresh body. You get a fresh start on it. So you're young and you got all your energy back again.
I'm surprised you would say that, because I think we get ripped off too quickly in this life. I
Well,
really do.
Well, it's our choice. We choose when when we're going to die. Not our ego, but because you wouldn't want the ego making the decision on when you get out of here, because the ego doesn't have any of the information that it needs to make that decision. You'd need your soul and your inner conscious to make that decision. But you're coming back. You're not. You can come back whenever you want to come back, and you can come back and do what you wanted to do. So, no, I think you live your life. You come down here for an experience, and I would have no desire to hang around in this body for ever and ever.
See, I think the perfect life would be like a couple 100 years, maybe 200.
Well,
But we get
Dave,
ripped off. We get
that,
ripped off here, man.
okay, okay. I tell you, I guarantee you, there are places that you could go and live longer lives. Not maybe not as a sentient being on this planet, but I'm sure you could go and and have much longer lives if you believe. Sitchin. I don't know if you're familiar with Zachariah Sitchin, but he had some interesting theories, and he claimed that the Anunnaki, who he felt helped humanity and helped create humanity in the form that we have, lived for 500,000 years. I don't know if it's right or not, but you look in the Bible, and the Bible said, how long did some of these guys last? 900 years and such like that. So I don't know.
See,
You got
I don't know. I just look at it like it would be. I kind of like what I'm doing here. I
okay.
really do like what I'm doing here, and I think a lot of people do. Even though, like you say, life is hard. This is the reality that we know. We don't remember our previous realities if they were worse or better. We very few of us have actual recall on that.
That's true. That's very true. And I think that's one of the reasons why people don't want to die, because we don't know. We have a fear of the unknown. We have a fear of our consciousness stopping existence. It doesn't happen, but we have a fear of it. And I think a lot of people will say, "Hey, I know what I got here. I'm going to hang on to it, even though I'm in pain, even though the left leg's not working with squat anymore. I can't hit the tennis ball, but I don't want to lose everything." So people have a feeling. I think a lot of people feel that way. But in my view, and it's easy to talk to people in the that have died and passed, and they're the ones that are living it up. They're having a wonderful time. It's the ones that are left behind that are that are struggling and upset all about all it, because they get their memory back.
Then, in your opinion, what are ghosts?
A ghost is when we die, we change our focus, and our consciousness moves into the astral plane. But there are circumstances where certain individuals uh, generally are so tied to this planet that they they they're afraid to leave it. There's either things that are not done. It's usually something that they feel needs to be done, and they want to do it. So what it really is, it's your ephemeral body. We have a number of bodies. We have an astral body, we have a causal body, etc. Well, we have an ephemeral body, and that allows us to live on other levels in the physical plane. Right now we're on the fourth. It might allow us to live on the sixth or seventh level. Well, that's what happens. Their consciousness doesn't fully transition to the astral field for a period of time. It's not forever. But so it's like your aura. Some people can see your aura, and your aura is really your ephemeral body. And that's what's happened is people get stuck, and they don't stay stuck forever, but they can get stuck. And that's what a spiritual, or that's what a ghost or an apparition turns out to be. And it can be an animal. It can be a dog or a cat, or I suppose any other kind of animal, as well as a human being.
Okay, so very curious about then, you said like once you pass away that you may stick around for a few hours, a few days. What about ghosts that have been around for eternity,
Well,
or let's say 100 years?
okay, 100 years is different than eternity. 100 years, yeah. Time, time is important on this planet, but it's not important in the spiritual realm. Time, the only reason that time exists is it exists because of the fabric of space, which slows everything down. So time to us is, might be 100 years sounds like a long time because we don't live very long, But in reality, in the astral plane, 100 years isn't that long. And yes, ghosts can hang around that long. They can have a lot of difficulty. Some of them will have more difficulty than others getting back.
Yeah, because I often wonder, whether or not there are ghosts or whether they are maybe living on a different plane or a different dimension and are continuing when it's, say, 1847 or 1732.
Well, I mean, that's a very good question. Time doesn't really exist. The past and the present are very often happening at the same time, and you can see that in your dreams. You're working on dreams are a different reality. They're not the physical reality. They're a real reality, and the buildings and the meadows and such you see and you create in your dreams are absolutely real. But they're not using physical matter to create them. They use the pseudo matter that physical matter is part of. It's just physical matter is a unique configuration of the pseudo matter. But you can have a dream, and you can be looking out the window, and you could have a modern house, and you can look out the window, and there'll be the horse and buggies going by. And so what you're seeing is a mixture of the time that happens, that it all kind of folds around each other. It's very confusing. If you try to understand time is a very difficult concept for us, because we're so embedded in this universe. But yeah, the past is still existence, and it exists in your mind as well as other places.
All right, let's get to another question here. We got 2 minutes before we got to go to break at the bottom of the hour. David Gaggin is our guest tonight. Let's go to T-Bone, who is asking, David, what's your opinion of the panspermia theory?
Well, I'm not really hugely into that theory. I don't really buy into it, and it's kind of a complicated perspective. But to make a long story short, I don't buy into it.
All right, let's try and sneak one more in. Human Carl is asking, how does one reincarnate as a wiser person if one is born without knowledge of our past lives and what we learned?
You have an innate capability that allows you to grow and expand. And we are born when I talked about the grand cycle before. And when you start your grand cycle in your first life, you are pretty naive, and every life after that, you're less and less naive, and you start out as a first level infant, for example. And the average people on this planet are probably a young 6th level. Well, there's a lot of history, there's a lot of lives in between there, and you have learned a great deal. So when you become older and you reach your level, when you're a teenager, you're not your soul age. So by the time you reach that level, which it might be 35 to 45, you're much wiser than you would have been in previous lives. So you're really adding a huge amount to us.
David Gaggin, we have until the top of the hour here on Spaced Out Radio, second half of the show. Coming up right after this, everybody stay tuned.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio.
with your host, Dave Scott. All right, Dave, we are clear.
Okay, good. That's good to see the audience being interested. How big?
Hey.
You probably don't have no idea how big your audience is, but you know,
I have a clue, but you know,
it sounds like you get a lot of the same people night after night, which is great.
I have a lot of incredible regulars. Yes, I do. A lot of incredible regulars.
How long have you been doing this?
November 30th, it'll be 10 years.
Wow. That's a that's a lot of effort, especially for a guy who's got another job. I had a radio show for 2 years, and that was a lot of effort.
Yet I punish myself by keeping going because I love what I do.
Well, you have to, really, if you're going to keep doing that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I agree. I fully agree. There you go, Kira. I will show. Hold on, let me go big here for you, Kira. There you go. You got the Sasquatch, the alien, and the gnome all together there, cuddling as one family. They're happy. They're happy.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, this is a fun time tonight, David. Thank you.
I'm enjoying it.
Good.
This is my passion, and it always has been. And anytime somebody is interested in talking about it, I'm interested in talking about it.
But you're not going to give up the aliens from your previous career.
No.
Damn
but there
you.
are aliens. Believe me, there are aliens, and they're not out for trouble. They're
unlike the threat narrative that some people are putting out.
Yeah, it's nonsense. It's nonsense. They if they have this kind of capability that they can get to us, they have pretty much worked through their issues as a civilization.
Yes. I just wish, there's certain things that just fire me up. For instance, I threw a number of tirades on Bill Nelson, when he came out, when he first took the job for NASA and got into the whole UAP study, saying, we got to look into these UAPs. I'm thinking, you're an old astronaut. You're somebody who knows the inside. Every rocket from Mercury to Gemini to Apollo was all followed. It's documented. And you're playing dumb to the American public and the world public on this. I just don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah. You know what I think it is? I think it's a lot of it comes from the aliens. I don't think they want to be universally known, and I absolutely think they don't trust us as far as they can throw us. It would be like you saying, geez, I'd like to see the lions and I like to enjoy the lions, but I sure don't have the courage to go out and sit down and have dinner with them. And I think that's how they look at us. They simply don't know what we'll do. So they're studying us, they're fascinated by us, but I don't think they want to get too close and be known as being too close. I think they come in and they are close in hiding, if you will, but I think it's more them than us, and I think they've made that very clear to our governments.
Could very well be.
Yeah.
Could very well be. We still got to bring out them aliens, though.
We'll get them. Well, they'll come out sooner or later. They'll show their face, but it's obvious that they're here. I mean, it's obvious, but some people don't want to hear it. They actually believe what our government tells them, which is a huge mistake.
I hear you there. Hear you there. We got about 45 seconds or so.
Okay.
Big thank you to T-Bone ×2, W. Decker, Forrest Louie for the amazing super chats tonight. Very much appreciate the love and support, everybody. And you can also support us by shopping at our Spaced Out Radio store on our website. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. Nope. Not a bit of ugliness there. You can wear our stuff in public and be proud of it. That's what I would do. Why not? All right. We got about 14 seconds. And then we will get going. 7 seconds, David. We're past the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. We always appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Final time tonight, author, researcher, David Gaggin is here. DavidGaggin.com is his website. His latest book, Our Eternal Existence. Having a great conversation with you, Dave. And I want to say a big thank you for joining us on Spaced Out Radio.
Thank you for having me, Dave.
I hope you've had fun with us, too.
I have.
Excellent. Excellent. We're going to start with an audience question here. What is the this is from Flat 6. What is the nature of eternity? Is it merely the absence of time, or is it an infinite extension of time? If it's the outside of time, does it imply that entities existing within eternity are unchanging?
No. Entities are not unchanging. Entities, that's all entities do is change. Every entity is continuously changing. Eternity, there is no time. Time exists only in our reality. I'm not saying that there aren't other unusual realities like ours, but in general, time does not exist anywhere else. So eternity is just, you can think of it from a time perspective, but it's just the present never stopping. It's always the present. But you can do things in the present. And what we do is we evolve and we learn. So what the process is we just kind of exist, but we exist and we change. And we change and we change and we change. And that's the whole purpose of coming here. You've changed a lot since you were born. You're not the same person. You're not the same person today you were yesterday, because you've learned other things. And that's the same way. That's the same way we operate throughout eternity.
All right, I want to ask you a little bit more about that regarding time, because we are the only creatures that live off of time. Animals don't, plants don't, trees don't, water doesn't, the sun doesn't. Do we have an addiction to time?
It's not an addiction. Time does exist here in this reality, and time exists because things slow down. If things moved instantaneously, you wouldn't notice time. And that's basically what Einstein says, right? He says if you could move at the speed of light, time disappears, time stops, it doesn't exist anymore. And of course, then what he says is that that's impossible, because you couldn't accelerate anything. It would require an infinite force to reach a speed of the speed of light. But what's what we don't realize is that time is here for our benefit and for us to experience what time is about. But space is not nothing. We think of space as a big nothing, and I'm not talking about the air around us, but space is a fabric. It's not nothing. It's something, and it causes things to go slow. It slows up the speed of light. Light is much faster if you're not in space. But as long as you're in our reality, then you're experiencing this fabric of space. How far does this fabric go? I don't know. I would be very surprised if the other galaxies were within our reality. And I'm not even sure our entire galaxy is within our reality that has space in it. But all of our assumptions on how far things are away from us are based on the fact that light is traveling at 186,000 miles a second. Well, if that's not the case, if what we're seeing is light coming in from another reality that doesn't have the fabric of space, it's outside it, then these other galaxies might be much closer than we think they are. And I'm confident that they are. So space, time is a strange thing for us to understand, but it's a fabric. It's a creation in our reality. We live in an illusion, and that illusion allows us to experience time, just like it allows us to experience three-dimensional space. Well, three-dimensional space is only three-dimensional space in our reality. You don't need it in the psychological domains.
Is time useful?
For us, it's very useful. Yeah. But is it useful, in the bigger scheme of things in eternity? No, it's not useful. It doesn't have any place at all in eternity. Because once you exist, you always exist. So time doesn't make a difference. Duration exists. It does take time for things. It does take a duration, a piece of time for something to happen. But that's not time as we think of it. That's not, starting at a point zero and us being 10 trillion years into it or whatever. It's just a small duration of a certain event. But it's useful for us. Doesn't appear to be useful for the psychological domains.
All right, let's get to another question here from our audience, and let us go to Just Min. If you were born a man, will you always have masculine energy in the future incarnations, or is there a whoopsie moment that causes some confusion?
We change genders throughout our reincarnations. Now, we may go a period where there's 3 or 4 lives, or maybe more, where you're a woman or a man, and so that certainly can cause confusion if indeed you were one gender for a number of lives, and all of a sudden you've decided, all right, I'm going to be another gender. I need to get back to to having a broader view of the world. So then you come back as, say, if you were a male, you come back as a female. Could that be confusing? Yeah, I think it could. I think absolutely it could. Is that the reason that some people are going back and forth? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. So some people may have had this plan that they wanted to try to experience a transition during a lifetime. So it could cause confusion. If you were looking at the world the same, from one perspective, but we have both masculine and feminine characteristics in all of us. So we have if you're a male, you have generally would have a little bit more male characteristics and hormones and perspectives and energy, if you will. And if you're female, you'll have the other. But we're not as we're not as different as you would think between the sexes. You have to. The only reason we have sexes is so we can. Well, I guess there's other reasons. There's one, the big one, of course, is reproduction. But then there's all these emotional issues that we learn about ourselves, having different perspectives depending on what gender we've chosen. So there are various reasons to do this, and I'm sure there's many reasons that I don't know anything about that, and many subtle reasons. But no, we have these we have this energy within us, masculine and feminine, and we go back and forth between them. Can they get confused? Yeah, but I don't think that's a major issue.
All right, let's move on to a different question here. Let's go to President Zaddy, who is asking, what do you think's inside the Vatican? Are the secrets there?
Yeah, I think there are. I think there's a lot of information down in the catacombs below the street level. Yeah, I think there's a lot of we've lost a huge amount of wisdom when the library in Alexandria got burned back I don't know 300 or 400 AD. I mean, we've just lost a huge amount of information. And when the Spanish went down to South America, and they destroyed an awful lot of the information that they had. I think there's an awful lot of that information that is still available, still out there. I think a lot of it we haven't discovered yet, and I think a chunk of it is in the Vatican. My opinion. I don't know that for a fact, but I'd be surprised if it wasn't.
All right, let's move on here. Let's go to Mr. Vermette here. How do you measure time outside our solar system? How do aliens meet up at a certain destination without time?
Well, it's not clear to me that time stops at our solar system. Matter of fact, I would be very surprised that our solar system was the end of our physical reality, and I would suspect that the aliens may well also be in our in our space-time continuum. That said, they also may be outside of it, and they just showed up, and they one of the ways that you could travel very far and very fast is if you were able to go outside of our reality and then come back in. I know of no technology that would allow it, but that doesn't mean that a highly advanced civilization couldn't do it. And they just show up when they show up, and this is where we are. And they've probably been here a long time. So they've probably gotten used to time, if indeed they came from some place that didn't have it. But I suspect that they're within our physical reality, and therefore they're subject to time too. My guess. I don't know that.
All right, let's move on as we now go over to Human Carl. If time doesn't exist, how can a soul evolve? I, as a soul, would already know. I'll always.
You evolve because you can change. You don't need time to change. We are experiencing time here, and so it's very hard for us to understand how a place could exist without time. But you don't require time to change. Eternity just keeps going on and on. So you have an opportunity to change. So again, you have a duration, and a duration does exist, but time as an absolute standard doesn't exist. And you can see that Einstein explains that to us. If you go faster and faster, you don't time gets shorter and shorter. And if you go the speed of light, time doesn't exist. And that's the way it is. And it's because this reality is has a fabric that is slowing things up. And if you could move instantaneously, you wouldn't notice time. You want to be somewhere, bingo, you're there. You wouldn't notice time.
All right, let's go to flat 6 here. In the context of our external or eternal existence, rather, what are the foundations of moral values? Are they objective or subjective, as opposed to moral guidelines that might facilitate, for example, a functional state?
I think that's the biggest advantage of understanding our nature and who we are. And I think you have you can create a moral set of ethics that is extremely difficult to create if indeed science was right and everything is potluck. I think it's very hard to convince the world that you ought to, and I'm talking about everybody, not certain individuals, because certain people will buy into moral values. But I think a lot of people would have a lot easier time understanding why they should treat other people well, and why love is the key ingredient in life, if they understood that they were eternal beings and they were just here to learn something, and we're all really part of the same substance, the same web of consciousness. So I think you could create a set of moral values, an ethical system that would be consistent with the spiritual world very, very easily. You don't interfere with other people's lives. You let other people make their own decisions. You accept the fact that people come down with different ideas and different values and different ways of looking at things, and that's okay. Whatever they want to do is their business, but you don't have to change their ways. You don't have to have a religion, if you will, that says you must believe this. You must follow these dogmatic instructions. So it's a lot easier to build an ethical value, an ethical system that would be consistent with an eternal existence. And quite frankly, I think that's the biggest thing that we should be doing. I think we teach these kids all kinds of things in school. Sometimes we teach them reading and math and such, which is good stuff. But what we don't teach them is moral values. And I think that there should be an equal emphasis on the moral aspects of life, as we teach these kids right from kindergarten and before through high school. I think when you get into college and you take an engineering degree, for example, there's a certain set of ethics that you need to learn that go along with that, just like the medical field and the legal field and all of these fields. There you get into society, and all of a sudden you get a job and you're thrown into a set of circumstances, and you have no background on how to handle these very difficult, subtle moral values. And it's because you haven't been taught and you haven't had a chance to think about them. And I think if we understood our eternal existence and how we really are and who we really are, I think we'd spend a lot more time trying to figure out, how do you live the right life? Because it's going to come back and haunt us. We need to learn how to get along with people. So I would say that the moral values would be much easier to understand. And I mentioned this in our eternal existence, that we really need to spend a lot more time worrying about how we treat our fellow man than how much money we make or what we want to do for vacation.
Well, you know what? A vacation would be nice, though. You do have to admit that.
That would.
You know, as we continue on, we got about 4.5 minutes before we have to say good night to you. And this has been a great show. Overall, looking at, our eternal existence, what do we as individuals need to know about this life? Because we have people in their 20s listening, we have people in their 70s, 80s listening, and everybody in between.
What I try to do in our eternal existence is lay out the bigger picture of what's happening to us in our life and how it all fits together. And I think you can start to understand, if you read the book, you can start to understand who you are and how you fit into the bigger picture, why you're here, what your purpose is. Everybody has their own specific purpose, but we all have a general purpose of evolving and learning the fundamentals of life, learning how to be responsible for ourselves and our decisions. And if you understand this, I think it's a lot easier to run your life and make decisions in your life. And I think you have a much happier life. And I think you'll understand why, when things don't go well and you're suffering, if you realize that you caused the suffering because of the decisions that you made, and that the beauty of it is, if you caused it, you can fix it. And so everything that's not going right in your life, you caused it. There are no victims out there. All we're seeing is a snapshot in time, and we just see ourselves as a snapshot in time. But if we realize how we fit into all of this and what the purpose is, then we can look and take an honest view of the decisions that we've made and what we've done, and we can change those decisions. And I think that's the biggest thing that our eternal existence offers the reader, is to give them an understanding of how it all works together and what's impacting them, and how they're impacting themselves, and how they can change their world. If the world's not working for you, you can change it. And the fact of the matter is, nobody else can change it. The government can't change it. Your spouse can't change it. Your parents can't change it. Only you can change your life. And if you understand how it works, it's an awful lot easier to change your life and to get a happier and more successful and suffering less in your life.
Well, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. 90 seconds to go here. And once again, big thank you and big props for coming on Spaced Out Radio tonight, Dave. It's been a real learning lesson for us. And we really do appreciate you educating us on eternal existence and the reality of what we call life. Because like you said earlier, and I think one of the things that we all can agree with is life is hard. It's what you make of it, but it's how can you simplify it? How can you feel good? Because you are going to continue. Whether you're agnostic or not, you're going to continue. So, Dave, do me a favor here. Tell everybody where they can find your materials, your research, your books.
Well, again, my website is davidgaggin.com. That's Gaggin, davidgaggin.com. And you can find my book. You can go to my website, and you can learn about the book on the website, and you can also hit where it says buy books. It takes you right to Amazon, where you can purchase either my latest book, Our Eternal Existence, or The Endless Journey. And also, I live down in Fort Myers in a little island called Sanibel. And if you're down there, I run a metaphysical meetup group, and you can so it's called the Sanibel Metaphysical Meetup Group. And love to have you. We get together all every month or two, and we're getting together a week from Friday on the 31st. It's free. I pay all the costs, and we talk about these things.
David Gaggin, everybody. Coming up next on Spaced Out Radio, Steve Stockton. Then Jackie Harmon has the Cryptid Report. Hour 3 is next.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
Thank you, Dave, for coming on Spaced Out Radio.
Thank you, Dave.
Really appreciate you, man.
Well, it was fun. I enjoyed it.
We got to hook you up with Science Bob. I think you and Science Bob will get along.
All right. That sounds good. Send me his info. You got my email and such, and
I will.
I'll get in touch with it.
All right, buddy. Take care.
Okay. You too.
Have a good night.
Take care. Yeah.
All right. Brilliant man. Brilliant man. Oh, there's Jackie Harmon. Jackie Harmon. Jackie Harmon. Jackie Harmon. I'll be right back. Jackie Harmon. Jackie Harmon. All right. I know you guys are having trouble seeing me because I'm wearing camouflage today. Excuse me. Jackie, I know you're listening. Can you check your Facebook Messenger, please? Big thank you tonight to Human Carl, T-Bone ×2, Louis, and W. Decker. Greatly appreciated. Hi, CS. I enjoyed that conversation, Christine. It was something different for us, but it was absolutely amazing. It really was. It was an eye-opener. David Gaggin was a great guest. Thank Dirty Filth for him. Stephen Finnegan, thank you for the love and support with that super chat as well. Very much appreciate you. And here we go, everybody. It's pouring out rain in the SOR headquarters studio outside. My name is Dave Scott, enjoying the wetness of tonight's show. Hey, it's hour 3 here, and we want to remind you of all the good things that you get to listen to each and every night here on Spaced Out Radio. And thank you to all of our terrestrial affiliates around North America. And, of course, you, the listener, as well, tuning us in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Fessanine. Fessanine is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. It's that time of the night we say hello to Steve Stockton from Among the Missing and another spooky story.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Among the Missing YouTube channel on Spaced Out Radio. I'm Steve Stockton, and I'm about to take you on an unbelievable journey of people just like you. Their stories and encounters will haunt us on Among the Missing. Now, let's discuss some of the strange paranormal events that are reported to have happened in Mammoth Cave. Before Mammoth Cave was established as a national park in 1941, paranormal stories were already embedded in the region's history. Mammoth Cave is considered one of the, quote, most haunted natural wonders in the world, end quote, with over 150 documented paranormal events. In 1905, legendary cosmic horror author H.P. Lovecraft wrote one of his earliest stories using Mammoth Cave as the setting. In The Beast in the Cave, a tourist separates himself from the group and finds himself stalked by a vicious albino creature. A shadowy realm of ghostly happenings and eerie tales adds mystery to the cave's enigmatic allure. The site may have held spiritual or supernatural significance for the area's Native Americans. In the last 220 years, burials and the remains of desiccated bodies have been identified in the caves. The funerary objects associated with the burials indicate careful attention and respect for the dead. The tools and clothing found on the remains prove that prehistoric peoples were experienced in cave exploration. Today, the park has consulted with tribal partners so that the deceased have a safe and secure resting place in locations away from the cave tours. Credible individuals, including rangers, guides, scientists, all claim to have witnessed paranormal incidents in the cave. Guides Colleen O'Connor Olson and Charles Hannion have documented many eerie tales in their book, Scary Stories of Mammoth Cave. Some visitors have reported hearing screams and strange noises echoing through the winding passageways, while others claim to have seen unexplained apparitions. In addition to ghostly encounters, There have been reports of unexplained sounds of footsteps, chilling drops in temperature, and the appearance of inexplicable lights within the cave system, all contributing to Mammoth Cave's eerie and unsettling ambience. Legend has it that the cave is home to a vengeful spirit responsible for a murder in the cave's depths. The ghost, known only as Melissa, was a young woman deeply in love with her tutor. When her feelings were not reciprocated, she exacted terrible revenge by leaving him stranded in the cave without light, and he was never seen again. Melissa reportedly confessed to the crime before her death, and her vengeful spirit is said to roam the cave, still searching for her lost love. Some cave guides have reported hearing a woman's voice calling out from the labyrinthine passageways of the cave, along with screams and other eerie sounds. One of the most well-known ghosts associated with Mammoth Cave is that of the previously mentioned Floyd Collins, the most celebrated cave explorer in modern times, who met his fate in Sand Cave. Reports of Collins' ghost have been made both in the cave system and at his gravesite. Additionally, the Mammoth Cave Baptist Church, which is now part of the national park, has been the site of alleged paranormal activity, with sightings of mysterious lights in the windows. Some cave guides even allege that Collins has helped prevent others from succumbing to his same fate by catching people when they trip and start to fall. During a routine tour, Charles Hanyon, an aforementioned cave guide, reported that the group's lanterns, cameras, and flashlights all stopped inexplicably working in a chamber. However, the equipment started working again once they left the area. During another tour, a visitor asked Hanyon about a figure standing on a rock that guides usually climb to throw a torch and illuminate the room while they were in the big chief chamber with another guide. Hanyon thought it was his fellow guide, but he was surprised to find him standing at the back of the cave. Later, Hanyon would see the figure himself, noting that it was wearing a hat that was specifically worn by old tour guides. Hanyon mentioned that several other sightings of a figure on the same rock had been reported. In 2014, a Bigfoot hunter and a group of Girl Scouts claimed to witness a large creature leaping onto a raised walkway while hearing its distinct sounds. The group quickly retreated out of fear for their safety. Recently, another alleged encounter with Bigfoot at the park grabbed national headlines. In 2019, while camping at the park, 2 students from Western Kentucky University were informed by a man that his campsite was destroyed by something. The man fired a gun into the woods, claiming he was protecting himself from a charging Bigfoot. Despite this, the students did not observe anything in the direction of the man's shots and departed the park immediately.
Thank you to Steve Stockton from Among the Missing for another great story. If you want more, just head on over to his YouTube channel, hit subscribe, ring that bell. From the missing to the mysterious, here comes Jackie Harmon and the Cryptid Report. Jackie Harmon is here for the Cryptid Report. But we're going a little paranormal tonight because you've got an article that you wanted to share with us regarding the paranormal and science. And I have to tell you, Jackie, this has been one of those things, one of those topics that has really, really grinded my gears over the years of doing this show. Let's get right to it. What's this article all about?
Okay, so it's titled, "It's Time to Stop Seeking Scientific Proof in Ghost Hunting." This is actually something that I truly have felt for a very long time. So I'm going to read this to you guys and then we'll talk about this. Many paranormal investigators pride themselves on their scientific approach to ghost hunting as they aim to provide tangible proof of the existence of ghosts. But is this the only way to explore the paranormal? Or is there room for more personal exploration of ghostly phenomena? After more than a century of paranormal investigation with little progress in providing definitive answers, perhaps it's time to consider alternative approaches that prioritize personal meaning over scientific proof. This is not to dismiss the value of scientific inquiry, but to encourage individuals to explore their own encounters with the paranormal without the pressure to validate their experiences to skeptics. Investigators often reach for scientific devices and ghost hunting gadgets in an attempt to prove the existence of ghosts. But why should they? This raises fundamental questions about the nature and belief and the existence of the unseen. If society can embrace belief in a deity, generally speaking, without tangible proof, why does the search for ghosts demand scientific validation? Belief in a higher power, such as God, is widely accepted without the need for physical evidence. This faith is based on personal conviction, spiritual experience, and scripture rather than empirical proof. Similarly, belief in ghosts stems from personal experiences, anecdotal evidence, and a sense of connection with the unseen. Yet, unlike religion, faith, belief in ghosts often face skepticism unless supported by scientific evidence. Even skeptics generally understand that scientific evidence of God is out of the question. The pursuit of scientific proof is ghost hunting may actually undermine the personal experience that lie at the heart of paranormal encounters and ghost stories we love. By focusing on devices and measurements, we risk neglecting the emotional and spiritual impact these experiences can have on those who witness them. This approach would align with the way religion beliefs are formed and expressed based on personal conviction and subjective experience rather than the empirical evidence. Goes on a little bit more, but I feel like honestly, it's already giving you everything you need about explaining that there really is no need for that evidence. Like you can go out. The point of going out and ghost hunting or anything, UFOs, Bigfoot, whatever, is the experience itself. What you're feeling, what you're seeing. You know, the entire experience is kind of lost in a way when you're using the words, for one, this is science based. And I know a lot of people are probably going to be a little, effed with me about the situation, but the honest truth is we really need to think about, like, what are the true experiences? What are we feeling when we're there? What are we getting out of it? If we're looking for one little, man-made gadget to say, oh, that's it, now there's proof, then you've kind of lost the whole point of the situation.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. It was more so probably 7 years ago, 6 years ago, where I remember having a bunch of paranormal teams come on this show. And there was two things that they had in common. Number one, they all seemed to be doing a television pilot. And number two, they all seem to be conducting scientific research regarding the phenomena of ghost hunting. And yet, probably the most impressive piece of ghost hunting equipment they had in their arsenal was a K2 meter. And I remember saying this to one group. I said, if you use the word science one more time in what you're doing, you're going to cause me to start drinking on this show. And about 15 minutes later, they actually used the word science again, and I left them. And I went upstairs left my studio, and my studio is in my home. I walked upstairs, I grabbed 2 cans of beer, and I cracked them right on the show. Now, this is before we were on terrestrial radio.
Oh, my goodness.
Where you could perform that. I wouldn't do it on the radio now. I'm a professional.
Of course.
But it always gnawed at me because the majority of people out there in the paranormal world, and I'm going to say, when I say majority, I'm saying 95%, 98%.
Probably more.
have not conducted a scientific investigation or a scientific experiment since high school.
Exactly.
And they have no idea of what the whole purpose is. Remember, we have to write out the purpose, the procedure, the results, the hypothesis, all of that kind of stuff.
Data, all the data.
And I just don't understand where the science is on that. Now, I'm not trying to pick on the paranormal people, Jackie, because I'm an enthusiast. I'm not a researcher. I'm an enthusiast. Yes, I run a ghost tour and all of that, but I'm an enthusiast who is someone who is curious about things because
Mhm.
I've seen things. I've lived in haunted houses. I've worked in a haunted building. I run a tour at a haunted museum, and I've seen things that I can't explain. But by no means am I sitting here saying, well, I'm going to conduct scientific experimentation because my fans on YouTube are watching orbs fly by my head in my studio.
Yeah, I definitely think that the paranormal's gotten a little out of hand with the science-based words. I think it's just a stretch when you're saying science-based. I mean, no one's going to the same location for a month with the exact same results over and over and over and over. You might be in a location for what, an hour, 2 hours, 4 hours, whatever the circumstances are, and you ask some questions. You might get some lights to come on, or maybe you think you hear something coming from a spirit box, but it's still not science based. I mean, these are basically like virtual, just toys of enjoyment for having fun. Like, basically that's what it is. It's giving you the idea that something's actually interacting with you, because you might say, okay, light this up, and you might see some lights come on. Oh, there it is, the ghost is here, we know everything now. This isn't about science. This is about like a virtual excitement of being in the moment of the paranormal activity that you think's going on around you. And those were actually originally created, all these gadgets, for TV. And then all of a sudden now every paranormal investigator out there has to have the next gadget, and then they get these gadgets and they think, oh, this is going to show us the proof. This is the science behind, we know for a fact there is an actual spirit there. Well, the fact of the matter is that it doesn't really give you any of that. It's just a toy. It's basically just a virtual visual type of thing to look at and enjoy. So it's just a modern day adult toy is basically what it is. So if you're really wanting the true experience of the paranormal, those are the things you need to go in and feel. Those are you're completely missing out on the experience itself of, connecting. We're lost with all of these gadgets now. It's completely lost with, oh, I'm always looking at this thing to light up, but where's the experience of feeling the location or learning the history, or having something actually come near you and feel that? Like, it's a definite scenario for me that I feel like the science based is far fetched in the paranormal, and I really don't think that it exists. I was actually on a TV pilot show, and they use the word science based as well, because we were barefoot walking around. And I was like, well, that's a bit of a stretch. Like, let's get real. Just because we're barefoot walking around the building, that might put us in more maybe like a raw, feeling of like we're walking around barefoot in a building, but it's not going to give you science. There's no science behind it.
I agree with you. There is no science behind it. The tools are scientific because it took science to create them. But here's the thing that I don't think a lot of paranormal investigators really understand. You have to go back to that same location over and over and over again, not once, not twice, not 5 times, maybe 30, 40, 50 times or more,
Mhm.
to try and replicate what
Exactly.
you have. That's the problem in ghost hunting.
Mhm.
Replicating is nearly impossible. Second, going from a haunted museum up here in British Columbia to Mackey Mansion in Virginia City to Bobby Mackey's over on Route 66, over to Gettysburg, back, up the road to Lizzie Borden House, down to some insane asylum, over to Alcatraz, head to Pearl Harbor, and wherever else. That's nothing scientific.
No,
That's
it's not.
tourism.
It is. It's tourism. It's basically a ghost tourism, is what it is. Like, you're being told like this place is haunted. Okay, do we know it's haunted? No, we're not 100% sure it's haunted, but the people there believe it is because they're having experiences. Now, it doesn't mean that it's not haunted. It just means that people are having experiences, but those are the experiences if they're real, true experiences of like hearing things, seeing things. Okay, if you see a real apparition standing in front of you, okay, you got me. That place is haunted. You have proof of that? I'm sold. Okay. But if you're walking into, say, Alcatraz and you've got a bag full of toys, of gadgets and things that you call science based, and all you're doing is putting things around and saying, well, that light went off and that, we heard a noise out of this. You're in a sense losing yourself in the joy of actually having the experience. So for me, it's really difficult because I've never been a paranormal gadget kind of girl. I don't think that you need any of that. I feel like using your own senses gets you way further, and you can get way more in tune with yourself in an environment. If it is in fact haunted, then you will anytime with that. You're actually missing out when all you're doing is focusing on that. And I actually know quite a few people in the paranormal field that say, well, we don't fake anything. We're science based. Okay. Well, in fact, you're not. You're just playing with, paranormal gadgets. And once again, you're doing the exact same thing the last guy did, and the next guy is going to do. In true reality, if you think about how long now paranormal's been on TV, let's just say 15 years or longer. Has anything changed? Has anyone caught anything different than 15 years ago? And
No,
they keep saying, yeah.
But it was not to point fingers here, as we got about 2 minutes to go before we got to go to break. At the bottom of the hour, Jackie Harmon and the Cryptid Report is here. We're talking paranormal science. When TAPS took off with Grant and Jason on the television show, they started their own TAPS, what they call the TAPS family, where your paranormal team could join up with theirs. They had a constitution and everything to go along with that. And they laid it out as being scientific. So even if you were intuitive, you weren't allowed to use your intuition to influence a ghost hunt.
Which is unfortunate.
And a lot of teams followed that practice. And considering there is no education for it, you can't take a university course in ghost hunting or even a community college course for ghost hunting. And that fact, who are you going to learn from? You're going to learn from those who you're watching on television.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of paranormal investigators, that's where they start. I think they literally start with watching ghost hunters and they're like, okay, I know everything. I know it all. Let's go. Let's build a team. And they're right out there doing the exact same things. And like I said before, you're losing the real experience.
And I think you're right on that. And, that's where we have to draw the line between what is an actual investigation and what is having fun with your friends doing something like ghost hunting. When you could be ghost hunting, you could be going to a carnival, a casino, a nightclub, a lounge, or the library, or wherever you may choose to go. So, I mean, there is a lot of ways to look at what ghost hunting really is. Jackie, hold on right there, because when we come back with the Cryptid Report and Jackie Harmon, we're going to stick with the paranormal, more of the science, and how Jackie on the weekend got a spirit away from me.
This is Spaced Out Radio and your host, Dave Scott.
Did you get my message?
Yes.
Okay.
Did I not respond? Thought I did.
I haven't looked. No, not yet. Could you let Lee know?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I probably responded and then forgot to send it. That I do that.
So how's love in paradise these days?
Nice, very nice.
Nice. Very nice.
Doing really well. I'm actually going to be flying up to Seattle on June 14th. I'm going to be staying up there till June 24th. We're going to go out in the field and create some fun new Bigfoot content and
Nice.
it's for my birthday. My birthday is actually the 16th, which falls on Father's Day.
Yep.
I've had that happen to me a lot over many years, but yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Right. That's awesome. That's awesome. I hope so.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I was going to tell you too, one other thing I was thinking about the beginning of the shows of the paranormal. I used to really think about this, and I actually believe that a lot of the paranormal equipment was built mainly for like the skeptics. So because they don't believe in ghosts, they need that like, visual. Oh, wait. Okay, maybe there is something there. Okay, now I see it, because I don't believe in anything that I can't see. So I actually believe that a lot of that was created for them, especially for TV. You got to bring them in.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I fully agree with you there. I'm tired tonight.
I am too. Really tired tonight. I've had a hard time kind of like getting myself back on track since we got back, but I wasn't really feeling well either when I got back. So I'm feeling better now. Starting to. I'm a little tired, but I'm feeling better.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to our trip.
I've got that part figured out. I'm okay with that. I'm not like tired like I was before without my CPAP. But I'm just tired. It's like I did.
Well,
I missed about 2 hours sleep. Today was a heavy day. Today was a heavy day at my daytime job.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Is right.
Well, you went through a lot over the last several days, so it drains you.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. I like this thing. if everybody actually knew how much I'm actually fidgeting during the show, trying to keep my wits above me, you'd be like, God, Dave, slow down, ripping stuff out of my hands. I've always got something. Like I keep my pen. I'm like always like with a pen, doodling.
Yeah.
Drinking water. Wishing I had Sandra Kincaid's hair. Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
It's the stuff that goes through my head. I don't drink coffee, Tolo. Maybe that's the issue.
I normally drink coffee before the show just because I'm like, all right, I need to get some caffeine in me, but not tonight. I was like, nope, we're not gonna worry about it.
No, I know what the issue is. I know what the issue is. It's totally self-inflicted because I haven't gone to the gym in a couple of weeks because of everything that was going on.
Oh yeah.
And with the show. Hi, Sierra. How are you? Yes, Sierra, we are live. Let's see here. And then I'm getting my hair cut in 2 days. I'm going short again.
Ooh.
I literally said, what would Lee Strauss do?
Grow hair. He would rather grow hair.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Or what would
That's a
Sweet
nice-
Robbie G's
that's
red
a
chin
very
hair?
nice head. Do what?
What would Sweet Robbie G's red chin hair do?
Oh,
You know,
I don't know. Maybe you should color your hair red. Maybe that would look nice.
maybe. Hey, big thank you to Stephen W. Decker, Forrest Louie, Human Carl, and T-Bone ×2 for the great super chats. Don't forget you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. You wear our stuff in public, I promise. You'll look good. Here we go, everybody. All right, here comes the final half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Always appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Reminder to all of you that if you want the free podcast, head on over to any major podcast network or check out our archives at youtube.com/spaced out radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Jackie Harmon, the Cryptid Report. We're probably going to have to call it something else than just a Cryptid Report. We got to come up with a name and a theme song for you, Jackie.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Well, your name is Jackie Harmon. But we got to come up with a theme name, not a new name for you.
Or Jax. Most people call me Jax. Either or, I'm good.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'd call you Booger or something like that, but it just wouldn't match up very well. Wouldn't match up very well. Anyhow, we were talking about an article that came out in the news recently about science in the ghost hunting field. There's a lot of people who would disagree with that. Merle, our good friend here, would disagree about the scientific study of paranormal phenomenon. You know, one of the things that bugs me about the paranormal phenomena and paranormal ghost hunting, if we could call it that, is these teams that go out there don't seem to have a focus of what they're actually looking for. They've got the location. They know it that it's haunted because they always go into a haunted location.
Mm-hmm.
They don't actually know what they're trying to solve. Are they trying to solve who's there? Are they trying to solve whether or not the place is haunted? Are they trying to solve the mysteries of life after death? There never seems to be any focus on these groups who are conducting these scientific experiments, Jackie.
Yeah.
What's your
Oh, I totally agree. I do believe that they are a bit lost when on their focus of like, why are they going? What are they looking for? I mean, honestly, the most important thing is, figure out what the history is. Who are you actually trying to connect with? But when you walk into a location, if you use your own senses, I mean, we all have special gifts. If we are more in tune with those special gifts, you can actually connect on a much deeper level than you can by walking in with no plan, not knowing who you're looking for, what you're doing. So random that the questions they ask are always the same over and over and over. I think it's like basically the same 10 questions every paranormal investigator has ever had. And you're basically just losing every bit of that personal experience. Have a plan. What are you doing? What are you doing in there? I mean, what are you trying to connect? Not that many investigators are trying to go in to like move people on or anything like that. They just technically want to see gadgets go off, Oh, I have it on film. This lit up. I have it on film. Something else happened over there, but it was from a gadget. And they leave there actually feeling fulfilled with these, answers. It's like, what did you get? What did you find? What did you feel? It's kind of a loss on their part.
It is a loss, but this is why I always say, like, one of the issues that we have is that is that why can't people just admit they're thrill seekers? Some people like to jump off log bridges into the water. Other people like to jump out of airplanes. Some people like roller coaster rides. Other people, like bingo. Whatever it may be. Okay, the rebellious side in all of us is out there. But what is wrong with just admitting that you're a paranormal enthusiast and a thrill seeker?
Yeah, I totally agree. I feel like the majority of people who are looking for that thrill and the excitement of it. And, like I said, again, when they're going back and looking at evidence, majority of the time it's science based with technology, they call it. Okay. Well, there is no science behind it. None. Zero. So, like, let's call it something else, let's call it, maybe, I don't know, gadget based. All right, we can go with that. Okay. I have evidence it's gadget based. Great. I'm on board with that.
I like that,
I can
actually.
live with that.
And look, this is and I want to preface this to any ghost hunter or enthusiast who is out there. This isn't an insult to you or what you are doing. I love going into a haunted building. I
Me-
love going to my museum, taking people on tours, and we're going to get to that momentarily here uh, at our local museum that I do to raise money for it. I love going to spooky locations where I might get that thrill factor of being startled or scared
Mhm.
or feeling like it's time to go. But
Well, that's truly what you should be going in for is the feeling, connecting and the feeling and the experience. And a lot of people are missing out on that.
I agree with you. I agree with you on that. But you know what? Look, to the paranormal teams out there, the chances of you getting a show are slim to none. And I'm not trying to break your heart, okay? But there are so many teams out there who are filming and with YouTube channels and everything. Getting someone from A&E or Discovery Plus or T&E or whatever the channel may be to actually see your stuff, especially if it's not professionally edited, is
Mhm.
going to be extremely tough. And the networks take full advantage of you. While you may be a star on your own show and they are raking in the dough on advertising, they're
Yep.
literally paying you
Nothing.
peanuts,
And
peanuts to nothing.
I can say firsthand everything he's saying is true because I actually did shoot a show for A&E. We did a pilot, and unfortunately, COVID came right after we shot that pilot, and everything shut down. No one anywhere was able to get together and film. That wasn't the only issue, but it takes a really long time for things to happen. Nothing happens overnight with TV. Nothing.
You got that right. Speaking of my museum,
Hmm.
you had a firsthand look at me being possessed
I did.
the other night on Saturday night. Now, I told this story to the audience last night, what happened about this lady who I talked to today, by the way, and
Hmm.
she is great. She says she's never coming on the tour again, but she says she is great.
That's good.
And so we did the good thing, pulled the spirit out of her and into me.
Hmm.
And I'm curious your thoughts on what went on there because this is what I was thinking. After I got the spirit out of her, I
Hmm.
walked off the property
Hmm.
in order to kind of regain my composure. And then I heard my fight song in my head. And I was like, oh crap, he's inside of me. I can feel him. I can feel him attached to me. And so I beelined it past everybody. And I remember saying to the group, they're like, are you okay? And I was just like, I've got him. he's in me. And right before that, I had texted you. I can't remember if I texted you on your phone or on Facebook,
Yeah.
but I basically said, I need you ASAP. I am attached or something along that line. Let me
Mhm.
find it here because this is actually really
I think it was on Messenger, and I was like,
yes.
seriously?
I said so. It was 10:56 p.m. Pacific time. I
Mhm.
messaged Jackie, clear me ASAP. Possession incident on the tour. It's in me. Then I get the famous Jackie. Are you serious? It always ends on a high pitch, right? Are you serious? And I went 100%. And then I called you like a couple minutes later, and you saw what?
Oh, wow. Okay. So instantly I could see Dave literally like shaking. Okay. He did not look like himself at all. I could see his face was like, it wasn't him. His eyes didn't look right. And the shaking really scared me. And I remember you saying to me, he's in me. He's in me. And someone here went to go get Sage. And I was thinking, oh my God, don't waste your time on that. Okay. Let me help you. And so I instantly started telling him, listen to me. And I need you to close your eyes and listen to me. Okay. And I remember seeing almost like the fight in his face, like, I don't want to listen to you, you know? And I remember saying, tell me something specific. And I would say something and he would not repeat it. And I would say it again and again. He would not repeat it. And I thought, that's not good. That's not good. When they won't talk back, they don't want to come out. Okay. So it took us about a few minutes, but I just kept talking to him and told him eventually, like, close your eyes and listen to me. And I specifically told this, entity, like, you got to leave. You're from the dark and Dave's in the light, and you don't belong there. You've got to go. And all of a sudden, I mean, minutes later, it's like all of a sudden, boom, I can tell Dave's back, smiles, like perfect, beautiful teeth smile. And I'm like, whoa, like it was crazy. But you could literally tell there was something going on with his face, his eyes, the shaking, the way he was just sitting. And yeah, it was a little scary at first. I was wondering if I was going to be able to pull that out, but he came back like real quick and I was happy.
Yeah, I had my guides working on it too in order to help get
Mhm.
it out. No, I did not turn into a Canucks fan during possession. I'm not that evil. Not that evil. But no, on a serious note, you know, the one thing that I knew in calling you that night, because it wasn't scheduled. I
No,
knew in calling you that I knew you. The one thing about you that I love is when I call you, always pick up the phone.
I do.
Always. It doesn't matter what time it is. And if you don't, you get back to me within a couple minutes. Like,
Mhm.
you're incredible that way. You're much like me that way, where you probably have like ADHD. When the phone rings, you got to answer it. And if you can't make it, you call me immediately, like, what do you need? What do you want to help? And all this kind of stuff. Right.
Well, if
But
someone's calling me, they need me. It's something's going on. So of course
yeah,
I'm going to be there for you.
yeah. And I appreciated that. And the good part about it was this is what we've been able to find out about that spirit. I knew that night from the lady
Mhm.
who was originally possessed that she felt it was a young man, a 22-year-old gentleman. She felt like he had died instantly
Mm.
with an issue with his legs, like he got pinned in a car or something like that. And he knew his power, and he was angry. That's all we have to go on. We also know that he waited for me to bypass the doorway
Mm.
in order to get to her when she walked in. because it was about a minute or so when she walked in that door where all of a sudden she was like, I don't feel good. I got to get out of here.
Mm.
Right. And so one of our psychic intuitives who wasn't on the tour that night, she actually picked that up. She picked it up that there was a young man.
Mm.
She described, without knowing any information, something to do with his legs being mangled, being in his early 20s, and not knowing that he was deceased. So,
yeah, I've mentioned that to you before about state of confusion.
absolutely. So, here's where it gets interesting. I'm not sure if this is coincidence
Mhm.
or something else, but I want to just quickly say something here. All right. So the lady who had the possession sent me a news report from September 28th of last year, and happening 5 miles down the road. I'm going to quickly read this. On September 23rd, shortly after 7 a.m., RCMP were called to a report of a two-vehicle collision on Highway 97, which is the highway the museum is on, near Ainsworth Road, just south of 100 Mile House. RCMP medical personnel, including air ambulance and fire rescue, attended the incident, where it was found that two vehicles had been involved in a head-on collision. Leg injuries, head-on collision. Okay. It is believed that an SUV was traveling south on the highway, crossed the center line, and collided with a northbound pickup truck that was towing a toy hauler trailer. Two occupants who were inside the SUV were injured, with the male driver being trapped inside.
Mm.
Fire rescue extracted the driver from the SUV, and that person was taken to hospital where he was pronounced deceased.
Mm-mm.
The female passenger was admitted to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The deceased was identified as a 21-year-old man from Alberta, and the name of the deceased was not released at the time. So that incident happened probably 9 miles from the museum.
Mm-hmm.
We know the spirit is a transient, not one of the regulars around there. Could it be him? Because a head-on collision would totally mean something to do with his legs.
Yeah, exactly. And not only that, but spirit who is their life is taken like that. Okay. Like if he was killed instantly, they go from now, imagine you're alive 1 second. Okay. Something massive, traumatic happens. Like there's some, instant death. You go from being alive 1 second to dead. Okay. There is no understanding of what happened from here to here. And then it puts you in a state of confusion. Well, he could be very confused and trying to find the closest, place of understanding, which is maybe the museum or maybe whoever's nearby. But that's what spirit's going to do. They're going to connect with other spirit or find a way to communicate with human in any way possible. But that's probably why he's angry. Something bad happened to him. He's probably aware that something happened to him, but also in a state of confusion of why. Because you're talking about instant death.
Now, I don't know if that, like I said, there's a good chance it could be just coincidence, or that it could be related to the scenario. I mean, 9 miles to a ghost is not that far. They can be there in an instant second.
Yeah. And it's funny that you would say that too, because when you pass on, it's not like time doesn't exist. Miles don't exist. Okay, it's not the same from the time you pass on as it is here on Earth. I mean, they can go anywhere they want. 9 miles is no longer even a thing. So humans are thinking like, oh, why would a ghost go way over there Well, because way over there doesn't mean anything different from over here. It's all the same to them. So, they wander around from place to place. There's a lot of ghosts that people will say, well, I see it over there, and then I see it way over there, and sometimes I see it next door. And so there's a lot of stories about spirits who wander around, but yeah, the actual situation with the miles doesn't really make any sense to the dead. It just does to the living.
And I agree with you on that. I totally agree with you on that. But it is something that is very interesting. And the good part about it is, since it's my birthday weekend and I get what I want, we're going back Saturday night.
Woo-hoo!
We're going back, and I got to make sure that the lady who was attacked believes he's still upstairs waiting for the next victim, because he said to her that basically he wasn't leaving, and that if anybody else came upstairs, he was going to attack them worse than what she got it.
Interesting.
Well, that's just an invite to a brawl on the paranormal side for me, and I like a good brawl. So I'm ready for it. We're gonna get my team ready for it, and we're gonna go kick some butt and take some names while we have it going on. So I'm pretty happy with that, Jax.
Sounds
Pretty
fun
happy.
to me. I can't wait to hear about it. I'll keep my phone nearby.
Yeah, just the thumb and the pinky spread out. Jax is ready for the phone, just like your local realtor photo, on the bus stop. Why do they always do that?
Well, I mean, what do you want to do? Okay, fine.
Here's your free evaluation on your property. Jax, thank you so much for a great report. We're going to try and rename this for next week, but that's what we're going to try and do. And we'll talk to you next week. Sounds good. Yeah, big thank you to our guest, David Gaggin, as well on the show. As we say hello to Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal, rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Yeah. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAP, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, the Space Travelers Club, and on X, hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyrighted by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends,
don't make a mistake. We're watching.
We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night. But soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we got room for them too. Good night, everybody. Hot damn, I still have the best theme song in this field. I don't care what anybody says. Nobody knows my theme song. Nobody.
Great song. Best song ever.
We are totally going back.
That's
totally
exciting. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Just be careful.
Oh, we'll be careful. That's not an issue.
Yeah.
We will be careful. And yeah, but we gotta figure them out. I don't think the guy upstairs who basically runs the barn upstairs, I don't think he was very happy with that young lad.
Oh, probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he was very happy.
Well, you
So-
got to be careful in situations like, sometimes when things get rough like that, it can scare people pretty bad. And then it can actually follow you home. So you got to be careful about that too.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh well, if I got shit happening in my house, wouldn't be the first time.
I've always had stuff happening in my house. So no, nothing new.
I like this comment by Aaron. Dave, I only listen for the theme song. I hate you. That is
Best theme
awesome.
song around.
Yeah. Show me the love. I hate you, Dave. I hate you with passion. I hope your mother beats you with a wooden fork or wooden spoon. Man. Right? All right. I think that's part one right there.
I mean, what do you expect from us? We wouldn't be different people.
I know. My dad's birthday right now. It's my dad's birthday right now.
What's his name?
Dave.
Oh, well, hello. Happy birthday, Dave.
Yeah. Old Dave Sr., 75 today.
And your birthday's this weekend?
My birthday is on Friday.
Ooh.
So what's really cool is my great nephew was just born yesterday.
Aww.
So now we have, when I was growing up, we had my dad's birthday, my birthday, and my grandfather's birthday on the 22nd, 24th, 25th.
Oh, wow.
Now we have the 20th, 22nd, and 24th.
Aw, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now,
you guys are May family.
Yeah. Now there is a chance that I probably won't get to see him, but because
Aw.
I don't do family stuff, but that's okay.
Wow.
It's still pretty cool.
Well, happy early birthday from me, at least.
Well, thank you.
You're
You know,
very
the best part about my birthday is
what?
I don't do anything.
No?
No, I used to. Then I would get disappointed. It's like New Year's parties. I don't throw New Year's parties anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Because every time I go to throw a New Year's party, it's like over before it even starts. So I don't even do that anymore. Like last year, I had before New Year's, like 2 months before New Year's, I told all my friends and everybody, "Hey, New Year's party at our house. We'll have a fire in the backyard in the snow, and because I got a big fire pit, and we'll get the wood stove going on the inside, and we'll have some drinks, play some games, play some music, have a great time." Like 10 people were coming. 10. And then New Year's came. And literally at 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock at night, like friends are calling and they're like, what are you guys doing? Nothing. Well, we were going to stop by and say hello and we're doing a round trip. No, see, you committed to me before that you were coming over to hang out for the night. I'm not a stopgap. Okay. I don't do stopgap. So don't bother coming over. We don't need you. Right. So it went from literally 2 people down to 0. Okay. And it's like, you know what? I don't even care. I'm like, awesome. I can now watch movies of The Purge and pretend to kill all my friends, for not showing up at my New Year's party. They're now on my list now. And yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I
It's how I rolled.
years ago.
It's how I rolled. But I got to rock out with my son. So
That's cool.
Yeah.
I kind of do the same thing. I chill at home, easy chill, get in my PJs, watch a movie, go to bed at 10,
Oh, 10. Holy cow. It was 9 o'clock in Reno.
Listen, this girl
You don't
gets
even think
tired. I stay up 1 hour extra on New Year's. Well, come on. It's time to party. You got to get down on New Year's.
Yep.
Blow the horn. You know. Have
Yep.
a little of the champs. Call it good and go.
Hey, Ron. Nothing personal, Dave. I hate everyone. My dad just turned 74, and your dad is currently 74, so that helps. Hey, Ron, I understand you more than you know. Let me give you an example how much I understand you, Ron, for not liking people. I actually have it in my will that I do not want a funeral when I die. Yep. I literally have no one coming. I don't even want my children there. And I don't want anything. Don't want anything. Just stay the frick away. So I know the feeling. I know that sounds sad, but it's not really. I don't want a celebration of life. If you weren't partying with me during my life, what the hell? You don't get to party with me when I'm dead. Sorry, there's rules here. I already know where. I've already explained to the people I care about where they need to not bury my ashes, where they need to put my ashes. All right. There's a few spots out there. A little dabble do ya every now and again, every couple 100 miles, and every fishing spot that I love. Right. That's it. No funeral, no nothing, no bills, no dinner, nothing. Nobody's allowed. Nobody's allowed because so that's my final fuck you to this world, man.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I don't care. People can do whatever the hell they want with my body or my ashes. I don't really care. I'm gone. I'm long gone. See ya. Have fun. Have a party. Don't have a party. Maybe I'll send you all little mini Ouija boards and you can connect with me later.
Don't want anything. Just leave me alone and let me do my thing. I do have one request though. When they're putting me into the oven to give me a good baking at about 750 or whatever it is. Okay. I do need Paradise City played.
That's his last ditch effort of having a hot smoking body.
Right? Right? That's all I ask. That's all I ask.
Burn that, Mo Freaky.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then we'll just rock it out.
Yeah. And just to piss people off, I might have Nickelback, because I know everybody loves Nickelback, and Burn It to the Ground, their song Burn It to the Ground.
There you go.
Just to piss people off. Take that from Nickelback. Right? So.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I got a couple plans. I want at least one friend to have, text ready to go out the minute the funeral is over saying thanks for coming, and it's coming from my phone number. At least somebody in the background standing somewhere in some black suit and glasses, maybe an umbrella to look like maybe I had something mysterious going on in my life. Some good stuff.
Yeah, I'm not that creative. I'm more of a person where it's like, screw you, you know?
Getting that.
Screw you all.
I'm feeling it.
Yeah. Oh, I hear you. One of the things that I'm having to debate now, okay, so my nephew and his wife just had the baby boy yesterday. And God bless him. I love him.
Congratulations.
But now I have to, I was saying to someone yesterday, I'm like, I may never see that kid. That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool because I'm done. Once my mom passed, I was done with family events.
Really?
Oh yeah. Can't
Oh,
stand family events. Can't.
oh,
Yeah.
geez. I am totally the opposite. I spend all my time with my family.
Oh,
I'm a
you're
big time family girl.
you're blessed then. You
Oh,
really are.
I'm the one that does like almost like I'd say 99% of like the entire Thanksgiving dinner and all the
Oh,
planning, and
you're
that's
so
me.
lucky. A little Cam over on Twitch who literally bench pressed 550 pounds 147 times before the show. That's why he's late. It'll be Rockstar by Nickelback.
Lucky to be alive.
I don't know. He's in good shape, right?
I
But yeah. No, I decided to shut things down with the whole family thing after my mom passed, because I don't talk to my one sister at all. I don't really chat with my other sister. I mean, we're talking a family here where in 2015 I wasn't even invited to the family reunion.
What have you done?
And that's the screwed up part about it. I didn't do anything. I laugh about it. So I moved into my new house when I moved up here. This is a true story. I moved into my house up here, okay? And we're getting all unpacked and everything. And my parents are up here. My mom says, well, we'll see you next week in Armstrong. And I'm like, no. She goes, we'll see you next week. I said, oh, are you and Dad coming back up to help us unpack and everything? She goes, no, it's the family reunion at my uncle and aunt's house in Armstrong. And I'm like, she goes, aren't you coming? I'm like, Mom, I wasn't invited. And my mom, trying to cover up for her sister, is like, oh, yeah, that's right. I was supposed to tell you. And I said, no, you weren't, Mom. And I said, did Auntie Brenda call my sisters and ask them? Yes. Well, she didn't call me, so therefore I will not be attending the family reunion that I am not invited to. And I could understand if I was a badass, okay? I could understand that. But you know what? I've never had, outside of a speeding ticket, I've never had a criminal record. I've never stolen anything. I rarely drink. Okay. I don't use drugs. I don't even use marijuana. Okay. I don't do anything. I am one boring, fun person. And you know what I mean by that because you've hung out with me. I am a boring, fun person. And so I've never done anything wrong to this side of the family whatsoever, but they just loathe me. Loathe me.
That's sad because you're a lot of fun to hang out with, really.
I am. I'm a friggin' blast.
Person. You are. You
Mhm.
are.
Absolutely. So if we fast forward to last year, okay, and this is the true reason why I've shut down the whole family aspect. Okay. Outside of my dad, I'll do anything for my dad or my grandma. Right. But this is true. Here's the reason why. Last year during Canadian Thanksgiving, I drove down, or my sister called me about 10, 11 days before Thanksgiving. And my sister has two boys. One of them is the one who just became a dad yesterday. And and she goes, hey, just making sure you're heading down to Dad's for Thanksgiving because we'd like to see you. And I went, yep, I'll be there after fishing because it's salmon season. So I'm going down to fish the river that I love, where my ashes eventually will be. So this is a Saturday, and I got to the river with my friend at about I don't know, like 5 o'clock in the morning. It was beautiful. Got to watch the sun come up and just beautiful, right?
Mm-hmm.
And thank you, Lavira, for that lovely super chat. I know I have a potty mouth sometimes. And so, anyways, I literally fished for 13 hours that day.
Wow.
Okay. Like when I go fishing, the world stops, the time stops. This is Dave in paradise. It's just me, the people who I'm hanging out with, and the river. And if I'm lucky, I don't even care if I catch a fish. I
Mhm.
really don't. It's just being there. So I get I get off the river and I'm out of cell phone service and get back into cell phone service and my phone is blowing up and it's my partner and she's saying hey, we've been invited to my other nephew's engagement party tonight. Do we want to go? Your dad is on his way there and I can meet you out there. And I'm thinking, whatever, sure. I'm stinky. I haven't showered, you know, but sure, what the hell. So I hang up. Then I started thinking. When I talked to my sister 11 days ago, she never told me about the engagement party for her son. Then his brother, who became a dad yesterday, had said that he was going to meet me out on the river. But when I called him to confirm that the day before, he's like, no, I've got something up with friends on Saturday night. I
Mhm.
can't make it, but maybe I'll make it out to the river with you on Sunday. It was his own brother's engagement party that he was going to. So I called my partner back and I said, we're not going. And she goes, how come? I said, we weren't invited. We got invited by my father.
Mm.
Okay. My daughter wasn't invited.
Wow.
She lives in town. Okay. So I said, we're not going. Let's just go out for dinner. I'll call my dad and tell him. So I called my dad and I said, hey, what are you doing? He goes, nothing. He goes, am I meeting you out there? I said, no, we're not coming. And he goes, why? I said, because we weren't invited, Dad. We weren't invited. And when I explained it to him, he's like, yeah, I understand. Not a problem. I understand. And that was that.
Wow.
But here's the weird part. So here's the question I have for you and everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I did get a wedding invite.
Hmm.
Do I go?
I would go. I would definitely go. For sure.
See, I don't think I should go.
Really?
I'll tell you why. Okay. My step niece, okay,
Mm-hmm.
because my sister and her hubby are a blended family. He has 2 daughters. My sister has 2 sons. Neither us or my daughters were invited to the baby showers for both of them. We weren't invited to the engagement party. Weren't invited to a bunch of other stuff. Weren't even called the day she was born. My first great niece. So, so there's all this stuff that is added up.
Yeah. That's a lot.
And so I'm sitting there with the wedding invitation on my fridge. I still haven't given my VIP status yet. Okay. Because you know what? Yeah, I can stay at my dad's house. He's got lots of room.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's a weekend that I could really enjoy doing what I do, like work,
Work.
like tour, go to my Sasquatch site,
Yeah.
okay, hang out with my boy, all that kind of stuff. And I kind of hinted to my sister the other day when we were kind of texting because like today's my dad's 75th birthday. What are we doing for dad's birthday? We got to do something. It's 75. And I didn't have an answer. Right. And I just said to my sister, you know what the beautiful part about it is? I don't have to do anything family anymore. After mom died, I don't need to do anything family anymore.
Yeah. I see where you're coming from.
So I'm at the point now.
Mm.
I'm at the point now where it's like I could really, really give two shits if I was there. Give you an example. My sister's hubby was up in my area last year
Hmm.
hunting.
Mm.
Didn't even call me. My sister and her hubby came up a few months prior to that to stay at their friend's cabin on the lake that is literally 9 miles from my house. They have to drive past my house
Oh,
in,
wow.
in order to go there, but they didn't have time to come over. They're on holidays because they're retired. They didn't have time. So I look at it like this. I say, I don't need it. I don't need it. I really don't.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't think that's being rude. So why would I pay the gas, which is going to be about $250 in gas to get me there and back? Because Canadian gas is about $10 a liter or a gallon right now.
Wow.
All right. Yeah, we make the shit, but we can't afford the shit. Right. So, no, but this is being serious. So then it's going to cost me at least $100 for a gift. All right.
Yeah.
And when my nephew got married the last time, my son wasn't allowed to go because even though he is immediate family, we were told that there is nobody, they didn't want anybody there under 19 years of age.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Because they're one of these trendies. You know what I'm saying? That you have to do whatever the trend is
Yeah.
now. Yeah. My sister has always been that way. Her son's that way too. So blah, blah, blah. It happens. And I was still kind of pissed off about that whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just kind of looking at it. Do I go to the wedding? I mean, I'm not close to my nephew who's getting married.
Mm.
Okay. He doesn't give two shits about me. You know, he's got a big nose. He's had a big nose since he was born. And I've always let him know that. Okay. And, you know, like if he turned sideways right now, it would block the moon out for me. Right. Then I have to see his dad and his uncle from that side. And if the purge was real, his uncle would be on my list. Okay. Because I don't hate a lot of people, but I hate that man. Like 4 people in my life that I truly hate. And he's number 1 on that list.
Wow.
So I don't need to see him. I don't care for my ex-brother-in-law who cheated on my sister. Okay.
Dang.
And I was gonna go for revenge there and you know, back in my thinner days and try and lure his wife away from him. But my sister wouldn't let me.
I'm going to retract my answer and say, no, don't go.
See, I don't think I should go either. you
Well, I
know.
didn't have the whole story till then, but now I do, and I'm definitely saying don't go.
So here's a reaction from the audience.
Mhm.
Let's see here.
And I can't see any of them, so I'm not going off of anything anybody is saying. I'm blind.
No, Christine Lynn, you didn't get blocked. Okay, so
It's fine.
Aaron says, I'm like an older brother now. Thank you, buddy. Let's see here. Senator Kincaid says they want gifts. Tolo says weddings are fun. Good excuse to dress up. You know, my nephew's wedding last year,
Mhm.
was it last year or the year before? That was the first wedding I've been invited to
Ever?
since 2007.
Good Lord.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't get invited to the weddings. Or 2008.
It doesn't sound like you get invited to anything.
No. So let's see. Stephen Finnegan says I should go. S. Vermette says because they want a wedding present. Let's see here.
If it was me, now that I know all this, I don't think I would. I really don't, because there's a huge disconnect there. Something's not right.
Deb says there's family and then there are relatives.
Okay,
Yeah.
you're getting an invitation out of what? They feel obligated?
Probably. So, Tim Mothman says hide. Thank you, Deb. Let's see here.
I do.
Vanessa says take control.
I agree with that.
Let's see here. Sweet Robbie G says you got lots of family here, brother. Absolutely, I do, man.
I love that, Rob. I love that. Your family.
Tolo says, yeah, F that. Kurt M, being trendy is expensive. Sandra, go, but don't take a gift. Have fun. I don't want to go. See, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I don't think I'm going to go.
I don't even think you really even need to have this conversation. You already know you don't want to go.
Well, I know, but you know what? I do value opinion. Christy says, I wouldn't go either. Sounds like they're just looking for a wedding gift. Well, I don't give gifts because, you know, I normally just give money. But, you know, that's $100 or $150.
It sounds like a pity, like a invite, like a, you know, you got dumped an invite, you know, because they feel obligated, and it doesn't feel sincere.
And you know what? To be blunt with you, at my nephew's wedding 2 years ago, my anxiety was so high that I was literally shaking and crying.
That's not good.
And because I can't stand family. Can't stand my family. You know? So
might be you might just be better off just sticking with the ones that you're close to and letting go of the ones that cause you that kind of anxiety.
Yeah. So I just look at it like, no, I'm not going to go. And if my nephew calls me, I'll just say, hey, bud.
Yeah.
I'm good enough to come to your wedding where I'm going to give you a present, but I wasn't good enough for an invite to your wedding shower or your engagement party or whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah.
So even though I was down, so yeah, I don't think we're going to be going.
Nah. You know? If I didn't have such an amazing family, honestly, and I was going through that, I would disconnect too. I would. You know, if you're not welcomed and loved, and, you know, if it doesn't feel good and you're not enjoying yourself, and just forget it.
Oh, but that's the point, dude. That's the point, right? Like, if you don't go, you're an asshole. But if you do go, you're going to feel like an asshole for not being there or for being there, you know? And really, who are you going for? Are you going for the boy who doesn't really give a shit about you, only talks to you maybe once a year if he sees you? Okay. Could give two shits if you're alive or not. Right. Are you going for that, or are you going for your sister who has the outlook of like wanting to play it up for a wedding? Like she's a showman. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So that's the way I look at it. I
Mm.
think I'm going to be busy that day.
I
I
think
got my washer.
I think all of us should have like a fun online party that day.
Oh yeah, that might be worth it.
Yeah.
That might be worth it, but
Why not?
I don't know. I just look at it like, really? Like, are we really going here? So,
Nah.
yeah. Nah. I don't think Dave's going to go.
I don't
really-
think Dave should go after all that. No. Yeah.
Yeah. But you see, this is life here for a second, because now you have to deal with what is the right thing to do. The personal right thing to do is not go. But
Yeah.
this is what I fight. This is when I start thinking, okay, the other part about it is, what happens, do you feel obligated because my grandmother is going to be there? My dad is going to be there,
Yeah.
um,
What's it going to be like after? Are they just going to drop you off the face of the earth again?
probably.
Then what's the point?
Exactly. Yeah. You know what? My mind is made up. That just nailed it right there.
Yeah.
So.
If nothing's going to get better and nothing's going to become of it in a better way, then, what are you just going to show face to show face?
You know what? I can just send the present and not go.
There you go. That's a better deal. Send the present. Don't go. You don't have to deal with the anxiety. And it's like a win-win. There you go. Done.
Good.
I like it.
Yeah, I agree. I fully agree. Well, Jax, it's that time of the night. I got to say goodnight. Jack, you hold on for a sec.
Okay.
But the rest of you, we're going to say goodnight to you. And thank you for a wonderful night tonight, everybody. Tomorrow night on the show, Ryan Golombeski is going to be here. Unknown animals is what we are talking about. Unknown animals. It's going to be a great show. This guy has been on a bunch of television shows, and he's handsome. Not going to lie. Handsome dude. We're going to chat with him tomorrow night. Thank you to our super chatters tonight. Deborah Rooney ×2, T-Bone ×2, Human Carl, Lavira, Stephen, W. Decker, and Forrest Louie. Thank you for the chat. Jax, I'll call you on your phone.
Okay. All right.
All right. So,
Bye.
we will talk to you guys later. See you tomorrow night, everybody.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.